All right, guys. Where's my phone? There it is. Where's it? We are live. What's up, guys? Welcome, welcome, welcome. If you're just coming in, what we're gonna be doing is probably watching the MLBB Women's Invitational. It ended yesterday or the day before the grand finals happened. There isn't a whole lot going on. We're still waiting on NACT, still waiting on MPLs to start. So this is the best we've gotten. I don't mean that in any way as in because they're women or anything or like trying to put it down, but it's literally the only event that has really been going on right now other than MDL. There's no English broadcast for MDL, so I don't really enjoy watching it. So we're going to be watching this. That's just the way it is. I already know how it ends, but from what it seems like, Bigatron swept. And I mean swept this whole event. So I kind of want to see like if it's just because they're really that good or if all the other teams are trash. So that's what we're going to be figuring out. That's basic. That's what we're going to be figuring out. Let's get to the desk. Oh my god, Eterna. The purple hair. Full purple. Full purple. Is that permanent? Is that permanent? Or is that just... It's so purple. I'm not against it. It's just so purple.
It's a stat that's just still so baffling to me. And the fact that they haven't lost a single game here at MWI 2023, well, even just throughout 2023, from the start till to this day, Arashi, they are still at 100%
Take a picture.
game rate. I'm not talking about matches, man. Game rate. I mean, they're going to try and attempt to continue this dominance. And if you take a look at the playoff bracket, if they succeed against Riz Valkana here, they are on going to the grand final.
Anyone just coming in, welcome, welcome.
Today, we're going to see Omega Empress going up against GP.
Turn it up a little bit.
So, very heated match for all four teams right here. But back again to the topic of Bigatron. They've been so dominant, and looking at the stats at least, it's hard to deny their dominance. If you look at the KDAs even, it seems like they just have an abundance of good performances and very little damage done to them as far as the KDA numbers are considered. So we have to see.
Yep, today's schedule is here. Bigatron Era versus Risk Valkana. You're seeing it right now. That's what's happening right here. Then for our second match.
Not gonna lie, Trex, nobody trying to watch this shit. Bro, there's nothing else to watch. There's nothing else to watch, bro. There's nothing else to watch.
We'd like to remind you that there will be a bronze match for third place, but it will be off stream. So these are the three matches that you guys can look forward to today.
For sure, man. I mean, again, it's just so stacked, right? We got the best 4 teams in the world when it comes to women's MLBB, and they're definitely not a pushover. You mentioned it, Arashi. Thing is, though, I feel like right now
We'll be the judge of that,
are on the Indonesian teams.
whether they're pushovers or not.
In almost every single women's
Basically, legendary. Did you watch the finals, though?
coming up in this matchup. Again, this
Let's
is
skip to the draft.
right, because
Let's
both
watch
of
the
these
draft.
Teams, they really like to go for the
All right,
Eve
hold on,
ban.
wait.
I've just been waiting for that Eve ban, right? Because both of these teams, they really like to go for the Eve bans. Those are the two most banned heroes for Bigatron and Risk. But now with the glue up for grabs, it was set up by Bigatron Arrow, who banned out the fair.
This is actually, hold on. They're just like outside, huh? In like a open mall. Open mall.
The draft, and now you have to see Risk Valkana. What are they gonna answer back to up against this?
You're so lucky I like your reactions, otherwise you're gone.
The Valentina first. Also, one of the top picks for Risk Valkana. Really liking this Valentina.
Taro.
Honestly, looking at their most.
Hey, Taro.
Lapu and Valentina. Lapu up against.
Does Taro stream?
Maybe
Taro, does she stream?
Not the best of lanes, but you gotta get your comfort picks early. They want to go for the Martis instead, though. So it's a solid jungler utility for Vanegod.
I think it's most likely going to go into the jungle, but if it wants to be flexed into the XP lane, it's possible, but up against a glue, that is a very brutal lane to be in.
Boomy
The
Eco.
all in coming in from glue is just so devastating. So Risk Valkana,
I'll tell you the first
a
thing.
way to mitigate that. Otherwise,
I'm not really
Bigatron
crazy about any of their names.
the EXP lane pressure to maybe just spin over into the jungle, into the mid lane, and
Not really crazy about any of the names.
Brody, they're looking to go all guns out in the early game, trying to bring Risk Valkana like beat them at their own game.
I'm a big guy on IGNs on like player names. and they've all kind of failed me right now, I feel like. Taro's not bad if it was just Taro. I feel like Rain could be good if you just took out the God part. Just made it Rain. Second thing is, why not Rain Goddess? You're a woman. Just like the kid. Come on, John. Calm down, bro. Oh, wait, let's move my camera. They're outside right now, huh? They got little fans on them and shit.
Very difficult to lane up against the Brody, especially early on. Once she gets those item power spikes, though, it will be a little bit better, a little bit smoother of a road for the Beatrix. Now we're seeing the banning phase here as Risk Velkhana try their best to try to limit Vival's hero in the jungle. Knowing that they have a Martis pick, there's no real reason to go for something like a Ling ban here because, hey, they want to go up against Assassins. Meanwhile, Bigatron Era, I believe the XP lanes may be their main target here, especially that Lapu pick could really disrupt the dive that's coming in from their own roster.
With both teams being so aggressive, crowd control is for sure going to be the first priority for both these teams. And so far, Bigatron has a lead on that, but Risk PH, Velkhana has a bit of a wave clear advantage, like you mentioned, so they can abuse that, and if they can use this Martis to try and influence the lane equilibrium
What's Oju?
for all these other lanes from the jungle, they can try and get
Rolled cheese?
honestly, when it comes
Sheesh.
to ability, I
I'm
think
more
Velkhana
focused on the rolled
will
cheese
actually
behind
go
them.
with, and Bigatron, knowing that they are going to go all in for a dive, will ban out that Lolita just in case, right? Just in case a big Numenon Blast can be used to turn things around.
For me, I think it's a Lilia ban here. That makes the most sense for Risk Velkhana. They need to get that mid-control.
Oh, wait. Ray Ash. Hey, got any Valentine's Day plans? You know, I work. I'm going to be working during the morning. I'll probably cook a nice dinner or something at night. Bro, holidays are... Guys, holidays suck. They're just money scams. They're just big money scams, man. So tired of holidays. You get to a certain age and you just get really tired of holidays. Every time you think you start saving up some extra money, boom, another holiday, bro. I don't get a day off on holidays. I don't know what that is, bro.
Even then, it seems like she still has some answers. For Bigatron, they're just fearing for the huge 5v5 team fights. So Lolita, Atlas, all heroes, they can try and group them along when they're trying to go for the dive, walking together. So for Risk PH, they want to go for...
Should we just watch the finals?
AoE, it's in line with their plan, but of course...
You guys just want to watch the grand finals?
The mid lane as well. Maybe the roamer needs to be someone that can actually help with the wave control, because as Mirko mentioned, the Lilia is open for grabs for Bigatron.
Honestly, looking at this composition, something like a Yuzong would work way better than the Lapu up against the Glue and the Brody. If they really want to disrupt this dive, they need someone who can stop this CC coming down, right? You need someone with that unstoppable ability, and the Black Dragon form from the Yuzong really gives the opportunity to go for that, but they still lock in the Lapu. Another pick that's still a solid pick here up against the Glue, up against this composition. You can still disrupt that back line. Thing is, you're not as efficient, right? If you miss your Bravest Fighter, or if you miss time, your usage of that Bravest Fighter, it's all done. Bigatron Era
can you answer my gap question?
We'll see what happens here. I mean, right now, Bigatron Era, they could lock in something like the...
So wait, why is there actually a gap with men and women in esports? It doesn't require actual physical skill. I don't know, bro. So here's the thing. You could argue the fact that there's just more men who play video games, right? So, statistically speaking, there's better odds for men to be better. Right?
A lot of outplay potential that Risk PH need to find an answer for.
And that makes sense, right? Seeing the bans coming in from Bigatron, right? They banned the Atlas, they banned the Lolita, two heroes that has really
Second of all,
five-man team CC lockdown, and that's exactly what they don't want to go for with such a dive-heavy composition. So, Risk Velkhana, how are they going to deal with this?
can we see an Evos versus All-Star Women team? Oh, Echo. No, put them up against like I think actually I just accidentally said it, but I didn't mean to. Evos, put them up against like one of the lower teams from MPL, like one of the teams that didn't do great last season, or like at the end of this season, Put him against like one of the lower mid teams
Is what I think is the best, right?
and
Or
see what happens,
if you're
right?
looking for a solution to really dive back, something like Ruby can work too here, just for that disengage. But again, up against so much CC, a lot of damage too. The Ruby won't really be able to lock
But
everyone down.
something that I find interesting is there's no I don't think MPL has a rule against women playing. I don't think anything in MPL says it has to be all women. And M4 and M series doesn't say anything about it having to be all women. Like we've had females that played on teams. I've always kind of wanted to see a team win with a girl on it. M4 we had our first female coach, right?
That bit less efficient, that bit less effective.
Well, for me, looking at the compositions here as we see it again live at Sumarikon Mall Bakasi. Blue in a winning lane, Brody as well. Kaja and Kadira with better mid-control. Risk Belkana taking the deep waters in the early
Think it's because they have lower reaction time?
They survive to get those power spikes.
I don't know.
Over to the Beatrix, to Taro, who's their main win.
My girl reacts really fast to a lot of shit.
Already. So is the crowd as we jump straight into the portal, into the land of dawn for game number 1 in the semifinals.
The Indonesian representatives once again going against the Filipino representatives. And up until this point, a lot of things that we can analyze right now, right? The battle spells.
From what I saw,
that stands out. A lot of flickers from the side of Brisbane.
I did look at the bracket, right?
They have a lot of CC, so no purifies here.
Look at Bigatron era and the emblem that is brought
So
to
like,
EXP lane. That is a
I did look at the bracket,
looking to try
and
get
literally both teams that made it to the grand finals swept every team. And then the finals was a sweep, which that in itself is a little bit boring for such a big event for women. The fact that it was very one-sided the whole way through is kind of sad.
EXP lane is not nearly as difficult for the side of Risk Valkana to deal with.
Raingon's doing a real good job already in the mid lane, right? Zoning Cine away, and that's exactly what you need to do up against the kill pressure. When you have the wave advantage, when you're losing in that kill pressure, use the wave to your advantage where you can...
Ray Ash, how did your casting? Did you cast yet? I know you got a little gig, didn't you?
The early stage of the game. Bigatron era are going to be
If you did do it already, how did it go? If not, are you nervous? Is this your first one?
They finally are able to clear out that lane. People's going to be able to actually sandwich Jewel God, who still has the flicker. Jewel God going to be targeted down. That's a stun as well. That's a flicker out, but a final blow onto the back line will find the first blood over. Chell will fall as well.
Oh shit, I didn't know I was so zoomed in. My bad, guys. Sorry, guys.
Equally early on.
That is a roamer for the gold lane, though. Shell, very aggressive, trying to find something in the early game, but instead gets...
Yeah, I know, Ritz. Finals may just be live, huh? Finals may just be live.
So look at the gold lead. It's just about five
Word on the street.
It's about six.
They're making posts asking about where all the popular places are.
Pressure. They're already looking to try and cement the position by trying to get pressure in the turtle pit.
Well, right now, with the advantage, Fumi Echo not going to be able to get enough time in. Split, bringing Benegod back. Final blow onto the back line.
Fumi?
Benegod's actually going to be taken really low.
Yeesh.
Echo picks up the kill.
You get a turtle, but you lose your jungler.
Turtle here in the second minute of the game.
Jungle does get taken out. That's not ideal, but it's still pretty okay for Risk Valkana. So far, everything is in line with their game plan, right? Get their early game going.
Look at wrist, look at wrist. They poked their head.
Bigatron era does not outmaneuver them later on, especially with the ultimates available now. They pick
Come on, Taro.
It's still a lot higher for
You were
Bigatron
cute.
era.
Show us what you got.
Risk Valkana gonna try and use that pressure towards the top side, but that actually
Show us what you got. I gotta turn up the game. I'm sorry.
Era, in particularly Vivian as well as Vival to the top side, they don't want to risk it, so they are going to look for something else on the board. But so far, Risk Valkana, they have been trading really well here.
They've been trading more than well, right? I mean, it's a pretty solid gold lead early on as a composition who doesn't have as many winning lanes as Bigatron era. The mid control, again, is playing such a huge role in this game.
And look at that Rain God. She has the Impure Wrath coming in that emblem, so it's a lot more independent.
That's good.
In a way,
That's good,
because
Ray.
it just gives you
I'm
a
glad
lot
you
more
had
poke
fun and
damage,
you
and
enjoyed
it.
it.
Also gives you a lot of maximum mana back every time you use a spell. So it just means that this Valentina that's already independent can be a lot more efficient as Bigatron era goes into the jungle of Risk Valkana.
Risky play, but it works out for Bigatron Era here. Venegod is going to be zoned away.
Even the emotes they use are worse.
He tries to come in back again, takes the purple buff away with the Retribution. Shang has popped in the Bravest Fighter in the bottom side river. Rain God has the Divine Judgment. They can actually go for this Fumi.
Come on,
with
come on.
Split is actually
Stop
able
it.
to get
Stop
out
the
of Divine
cap.
Judgment here in the top lane, though. Chell going to be taken low, taken down by
Taro.
Vivian forced to back away. Risk Valkana with now a good lead in their hands.
I mean, we mentioned that that was supposed to be a losing lane, but the way that Risk Velkana have played it out, now Shell is kind of behind. She has to be very careful. And one of the things that I wanted to mention
you have
about
Fumi
the
down
Martis
here
is that's the beauty of the Martis, right? Even though there's so much CC coming in from Bigatron Era, even though they want to go for the dive, she is also going to be able to get these objectives, to get her own buff really well because of the anti-CC possibility that she has on the Martis.
And then the gold lane, it's just very difficult for Shell because if you look at the roamer, it's a Kaja up against a Ruby, and Ruby has a lot more hard crowd control, like a stun, like a immobilize on demand compared to a Kaja. So they, because Vilcana can be a lot more aggressive, and they can be a lot more tentative with how they want to approach these fights.
Oh, Divine Judgment in the rough wave, Cine.
Oh.
Gonna be able to escape for now, but look at the
Oh, that was
damage.
nice. That was
Top
clean.
memory snipes.
That was
Jewel
clean.
God from
That was very clean.
Vilcana can be a lot
What
more
happens
aggressive,
here? Jewel
and they
God
can be a lot
comes
more
in.
tentative with how they want to approach these fights.
Oh, she gets to the rough waves.
Cine. Gonna be able to escape for now.
Taro
but look at
whiffed
the
that
damage
ult.
coming in. Shell with the Tornapop memory snipes.
Bennett's
Jewel
rage.
God from
Something like that.
the backside there. Taro still all alone. Cine reads it out pretty well. Taro going to be caught here. Bene
Taro,
got
what are you
forced
doing?
to
Taro.
rotate back in. That's the concealed play popped in as well. Bene still able to disengage for now. Breath of the Ocean. Not going to be able to knock Bene out. That's the anti-CC. Now Nibiru's Passion by Taro to clear out the waves. Bigatron Era still with the
Anti-CC.
It's a good lead held on.
It's a word that I just haven't.
Fumiego was trying to clear the wave in the bottom side earlier, but she missed one. And that allows Uzbekistan some time, but look at that.
That was a cool
Stun,
snipe,
Breath of the
bro.
Ocean.
That was nice. I know the last one wasn't nice, but that was kind of nice. That one was at least kind of nice, John.
Solid dive.
Allows Fumiego was trying to clear
Alright,
the
maybe it
wave in
wasn't.
the bottom side earlier, but she missed one. And that
Look
allows
at Vivian
Uzbekistan
just standing there,
some
takes a
time, but
tower
look at
shot.
that.
I mean, it was clean. It was clean.
From Bigatron Era in the gold lane.
Beautiful, and that was even before the Clock of Destiny was built for Cine, right? So expect her already at level 6. She has her ultimate. She's really clawing for those items to have that damage, and that's going to be something that Bigatron Era can do over and over. And Risk Velkana, they have to be careful not to get picked off.
This is a disaster if Bennett doesn't actually check that bush, and she actually walks away from that bush. Now, let's take a look at the dive. Arashi break it down for us because it was clean.
It's classic Shell, man.
Mirko even said it was clean. I mean, I know he's getting paid to say that, but
set them up with that
he
stun
said it
on the
was
Brody.
clean.
But that's on the gold lane. Fumi Echo in the XP lane, just being such a nuisance, trying to always able to escape with the split. And I think for Rich Vakana, they're just outmaneuvered right here because Beginner Era have a lot more escapes. They can be a lot more impudent with how they want to actually approach these fights.
Oh, so
final.
much damage. Fumi still
Stop,
able
bro.
to escape.
Stop,
Turtle
guys.
here. As you can see, the turtle still spawning in. Vivo looking for the Retribution, still has it. Rain God trying to deal the damage. Vivo comes in, actually goes for the Retribution, steals it away.
Able to take
And
it.
it's a
Clean.
kill in the mid lane too. Taro
take it.
falls.
Clean.
2-0 in the trade.
Easy,
Vivo
easy,
still
GG.
going in. Jewel God now forced back away. Divine Judgment stolen away by Rain God, who has
Money makes
the
you say
flicker
crazy
to play
things.
with, but doesn't go for anything too risky just yet.
Bigatron Era, they won a lot there, right? They were able to get that turret in that top side, rotate a little slower than Risk Velkana, but at the end of the day, they were still able to get that turtle. And remember, Vival is a level above at that particular time.
Why is
now Bigatron on the bottom side?
Flicker
Why is
instantly,
why is
defensive
Mirko's
flicker,
favorite
a
team
good move
Bigatron?
from Shang, but the gold lane's just
Like
going to be
an
sieged
MPL
down
ID.
here by that siege potential, the siege pressure that we know the Brody
Who
has
makes him such a
here.
Bigatron
And
fan?
the purple buff goes to Vival.
Anyone know the
Bigatron
story
Era was
behind
just
it?
taking everything. And if you look at the stats, I think if you check it out, the data, Shell has done so much damage to turrets because for the most part, she's being used as a split push machine right here. As Fumieko just is able to take away so much attention from the side of Risk Valkana, and she's been relatively low death so far. 0.
She's playing the weak side of the map perfectly. again, clearing out waves, just being a distraction. Meanwhile, her team just does everything, takes every single resource. That's a tier 2 down in the 8th minute of the game by Chell, who's focusing down that tier 2. Again, she can just
One thing that you don't see from them that much
for the taking now.
The counter rotation
is
coming
like
from Bigatron Era
patience.
is definitely on point here, and you can now see that they
Like
are
there's
changing
not a
their
lot
focus
of
here. They're
you don't
looking
see a
for
lot
pick
of
off
like
the
people
mid-side.
sitting in
A beautiful
bushes.
breath of the ocean and a divine judgment to lock Jewel God down. Total power memory with a fadeaway. Vivian gonna be slain here in the mid lane. That's another suppression onto Cini, who's still able to escape. And Viva comes in again under the turret, still finding it. Fumi Echo sandwiching them, still putting pressure down on Risk Velcana.
Screen just changed.
But
You
now
just notice
Risk,
how
they
it's like-
finally fall back, giving the mid lane turret, conceding it over to Bigatron Era.
Bigatron are just very smart in picking their engagements. So far, Risk Velcana has a so much better team fight if there's a huge combo, but Bigatron Era are not letting them group
Nice
up
Lord
with
cam.
the pressure being exerted on every single
Lord
lane.
cam.
They're able to pull away Risk Velcana from each other, which allows them to just go for those 2-man pickoffs. The 3-man pickoffs, it's just never a 5v5, and Risk Velcana, they need to try and change that. Later on, when they're just turtling in the base, they will have more of an opportunity. But let's take a look at that replay. In the beginning, it's Green God, along with Jewel God, just caught out in the outside. And Shell with the very passive, right, gameplay coming in from the Brody, just going for utility and going for the kill secure. Nothing extra needs to be done here.
Yeah, you can see that even when they were going in for that team fight, Taro, their main initiator for that damage was still so far behind. So she wasn't able to do anything in that
Taro.
and Bigatron Era were able to come out on top. Now we are entering the 10th minute, 5,000 gold lead for Bigatron Era. The Lord
GG's.
already marching in the top
Do they end it here, guys?
And like you mentioned though, Risk Velcana, they do still have an option, right? Try to use their composition to
Look at Jewel.
its
Look at Jewel God.
potential. But right now, Bigatron Era, look at the
What
way
are you
they're
doing?
splitting
You're
the map.
recalling?
The top side, the mid side, and
You were
that
back
bottom
there for
side is pushing all at the
no
same
reason?
time.
I would like to actually
you were back there
highlight
for no reason.
Vivian. Look at how she's playing here. She's always in the bush. She's never giving that vision over for the IMU. The Divine Judgment hasn't been taken in the last 2 team fights, and Vivian now with a concealed play. Looking for the flicker as well, just zoning the other members away still. No IMU.
Vivian not able to get it.
A zoning ability popped in by
Vivian
Cini
still
with
has
the
flicker
plays.
though.
With
Keep
both
her
the
eyes on
turrets in the
Vivian.
lane
Keep her
and
eyes on
top
Vivian.
lane,
Wait
popping
for
in
it.
that passive Venice Rage
Oh, I thought it was
by
Rain God was
Taro to
down.
clear out the wave. It's
Wait
still
for
Rain
Vivian,
there.
wait for Vivian.
Still Rain God finally able to finally steal away that IMU, that Divine Judgment. But look at the way that Bigatron Era are playing these waves. Base turret with the First Lord.
They just moved Risk Velcana around the map, and they're just a bit too slow to respond, because if you look at the wave clear, the damage is definitely still there. So Bigatron needs to still be very careful. But with 7.2 gold lead, I think they can afford to be a bit more careless. And
Oh, nice, I'm offended.
Offended, the massive one there, and Benegod is not going to be able to find it. What?
Vivol doesn't give a fuck.
Doesn't find anyone. Meanwhile,
Oh
Vivol
my God.
wreaks havoc in the enemy back line. Rain God able to find the Divine Judgment, but that's another Divine Judgment from Vivian.
How?
Bringing Bene
How?
back. The total part memory not enough just yet, but Fumi
How?
finds the kill. It's
Stop
a
the cap.
2-4-1. Shang taken low. Chell forced to back away.
How did you guys
Good
lose out on
move.
that?
It's a 2. Bene back. Rain God. Back doesn't find it. Simon Bene the
lead, I think they can afford to be a bit more.
All right. Shang's down here at the bot side. Kadita up on top. But look, all right, so you have 4 members right next to this beautiful I'm
And they go for it though.
That's Simon
How
Bennett,
do
the
they
massive one
not
there.
kill
Bennett
anybody,
not going to be
bro?
able to find it. What? Bennett got in the back, doesn't find anyone. Meanwhile, Vivo wreaks havoc in the enemy back line.
sad,
Rain
bro.
God able to find the Divine Judgment, but that's another Divine Judgment from Vivian, bringing Bennett back. The torn apart memory not enough just yet, but Fumi Echo finds the kill. It's a 2-4-1.
bro. Boomy.
Shang taken low. Chell forced to back away. A
Boomy,
good move
bro.
by Risk, but still, it's 2 base turrets for Bigatron Era.
That was all perfectly played out by Risk Velcana. They waited for their opportunity, they went for the right targets with their combo, and yet Bigatron Era were able to survive. Barely though. And now if you look at the gold lead, it has shrunken just a bit, but this is what Risk Velcana needs to do. You take a look at the items here. for Taro, the BOD is ready, the Malefic Roar is ready as well. Of course, it's a far cry from what she should
Guys,
have
I'm ready for
at
an
this point in the
ACT.
game. But
What do
as
we
you can
got,
see,
like 3
against
weeks
the
or
right
some
targets,
shit?
without the defensive items, it's
3
still a
weeks or
lot of
something?
damage that Big Kitchen Era cannot ignore.
It's a lot of damage, but I've got to say it's not enough, right? That makes sense. Risk Velkhana, they took a risk, they used the I'm Offended, it hit onto a lot of members from Bigatron Era, but there was not enough damage to follow up, and instead they were the ones behind. Did you see the items?
Yeah,
from
I know
Valentina?
that
Only a
BTR
flock of
wins the
Destiny,
final.
But once again here, Risk Velkhana going for the kill.
A desperate play by Risk Velkhana. Bene gonna be caught down, just taken out by Vivian. They're trying to kite back now, but Fumi Echo finds Jewel God, brings her back to Bigatron Era for the taking. It's a 2-0, make it a 3-0 with the Enhanced Lord taken for free. Risk Velkhana, 3 members strong. Taro still alive too,
BTR
but again,
Era, okay.
I'm calling it this Brody. One combo, might be able to one-shot the Beatrix.
GG's.
They're going in for the end right
GG's.
here with the Enhanced Lord. That's the Bennett's raise, but
Let's
it
see.
is game over for game
Let's actually check
number
that.
1.
Bigatron
Bigatron
Era.
Era strikes first in a best of 3. That was a fast game. That was a statement.
I mean, it was fast, but it also seems
They've been
like
arousing since
quite long to
2018.
me because there's so many things going on from both these teams. Equally, trying to just counter each other's strategy and come out on top. But honestly, Bigatron Era
Oh,
was
yeah.
just a lot cleaner in their execution.
They've been
They seem
stomping,
to know
bro.
what options Risk Velkhana have, and they counter it preemptively by using movement, by using vision gameplay,
They've won
and using the
everything.
Lords to its full potential. Like you said, Mirko, taking out the
This
first
year and
base
last
turret,
year.
using the first Lord, that is definitely an achievement.
They won on rotations,
6,
for
7,
sure,
8,
right?
9,
They were
10,
wrong.
11,
It was
12,
beautiful
13.
to watch even, and it felt like Risk Velkhana, they were
14,
losing at the
15, 16,
gameplay that
17,
they were trying
18.
to put on
They've
to
gone
Bigatron.
17 for
So
18.
this is match point for Bigatron.
And
You're right.
even
It's
the
a
other
best of
one, they
3.
got
One
second
more
place.
match.
In the
And they're making
semifinals.
okay money off of it.
One more game win, and it might just be over for their finals run here at MWI 2023. Bigatron Era,
They're actually a decent
again,
team.
coming in with a statement, saying that, hey,
Wonder why they
100%
don't
win rate,
try to get
100%
into,
game rate, it's still here.
like
It's
do
still
qualifiers for
uncrackable in
MDL or something
2023.
like that.
I mean, if they finish this tournament with 0 game losses,
Then,
that is unreal.
That-
I keep saying it every time Bigatron Era is actually in the picture, but it doesn't make sense, man. It should not be that dominant. But you can see that they have so many tools at their disposal.
Nice.
that
I
they
mean,
just can't
Arashi
help
thinks
but
the
just
same
get
thing.
so much success in the
You know,
early game.
a lot of people are actually wondering if Bigatron Era is fit to go into MDL.
MPL.
Yep.
Might as well be talking about MPL at this point. You see how they're playing the macro game from Bigatron Era, practically just outclassing Risk Velkhana when it comes to the mid to late stage. But that's something that we kind of expected early on when we were talking about the draft. And
For real,
both
though,
of the
they
teams.
should.
Risk Velkhana plays a very mean early game, but if taken to deep waters,
Panda should go
in the
jungle for one of those
mid-game,
teams.
That's when they start to fall, when they start to really dip. And you could see in the second turtle when Biba was able to steal the turtle. Meanwhile,
This Valentina can be for Risk Velkhana this time around, but the main change for now is going to be that Brody. But there's still a lot of heroes in that gold lane that can win against.
I don't know, man.
Do you think this Brody pick was too early?
Picking a gold lane this early, I guess it's a Brody that doesn't really have a lot of bad matchups, but I think
I love
Brody
it all,
will take into
like,
consideration which hero,
you-
which lane they want to
like
use
this,
as the tip of the spear.
literally
for
it's
their
nothing
early
but
game
trash
engagements,
talkers.
Because that
But
is where
what's
they have
funny
to try and get a
is,
difference, because for both these teams,
like,
if
the
tip
people
of
who
the
trash
spear
talk,
gets
like this is, I
denied,
bet
gets
this chat
deflected,
is just
gets
nothing,
shut down in the
but
early
all the
game,
people
you
who
can see that
trash
their tempo
talk on like
slows
the
down a lot
actual
more.
MPL and
For
bigger
Bigatron,
event
they can adapt.
streams,
For Risk-
they all just come
Risk-
here because they
Risk
need
Velkhana,
somewhere to
seems like
trash
they
talk,
really
bro,
need
and
to
there's
get
no
that
events
going,
happening right
so
now.
I
So
think
literally it's
picking up
just
one of the
nothing but
important
garbage.
laners this early is a bit dangerous, but it's possible.
now it's kind of scary though for Risk Velkhana because
Imagine
you look
coming
at
to the
Brody
Women's
bouncing in
Invitational
two-
to try to
two
assert your
early game
country's
heroes,
dominance.
especially for the Brody, doesn't really scale well into the late game.
You come
They
to the
had some late
come to
game
the Women's
insurance
National
with the
just to be
Beatrix
like,
in game one if they
Philippines
really
is
wanna
the
go
best,
all
bro.
in on the
Indonesia's
early
the
game.
best.
It does seem like they're going for that
Like
mid-game
this-
power spike here. Valentina, Brody. When we're talking about mid-control too, Lunox
I think we're
going
gonna jump to the
Valentina.
finals, bro. Let's
sustain
just
that
watch
she
the
has
finals.
when she's on her yellows, the brilliance is pretty absurd, right? She can actually out-sustain, out-trade the Valentina super easily. On top of that, you have a Kaja who's there.
Who
Is this the
reigns
finals?
supreme on top?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah,
be
BTR
taken
versus
down by
GXP.
Bigatron
One
or
has to go.
G-
It's a great progress today's and final.
This is the only event Indo wins
Defeated
against.
in the Here we go, our Bigatron era with Sin in mid lane, Fumi Echo in the XP, Chell in the gold lane, Vivo.
Our own gold lane do have
In the EXP lane, Chin Chow
Bro,
in the
she
gold
looks
lane,
like she hasn't
Caramel,
slept in days,
and
bro.
Jungle and Foul in that roam position. And this
Caramel?
squad we have just seen earlier, so dynamic, so
like she hasn't
crazy,
slept in 10
and
days.
somehow, some way, they
Inferno,
find a way
what's
to
up?
make it work. And honestly, it's a playstyle I really like. I enjoy watching it. I think it's effective. But against Bigatron, they need to clean up quite a bit because at any point, if they make any single mistake, Bigatron will the end of the game.
We're gonna take this in the game
of
And you get a strong jungler to ensure that the neutral objective take is
Mom,
always
put us
solid
in the draft.
regardless of the rest of the roster.
Where's the
Whereas for
draft? There we
Bigatron,
go.
That
full. They didn't rely on that crazy aggression. Blue side, GPX on the red, BTR.
Inferno, what's
with
up, man?
The Haya, Faramis, and the 1-1 band. A lot of isolation here, like the Haya and the 1-1 band out. They want to go for some team fights. They pick up the Kaja first pick, knowing that if the carry does get picked up by Chin Chow, they have an answer
Skip
to
the
it
C
with this
games.
Kaja.
There are no C
Kaja
games.
being an absolute menace, just finding the right target at the right time. So for Bigatron, that's even more so the case because they usually have a lot
There's
cleaner of a
nothing,
setup
guys.
to allow Thal to actually, not Thal, sorry, Vivian to try and find those opportunities. But GPX are not deterred. They respond with a very dominant, very
Mineski
meta gold
organized
laner.
this event. It's the
Bigatron
same
are
event that
ones
organized
to
M4.
decide what do they want to
Mineski.
try and counter this carry with.
I mean, right now they do have the Valentina, right? So even if they want to use the suppress against them, they do still have the option of using it themselves. But now Bigatron with the next two picks, are they going to
GPX
be
gets
prioritizing
carry?
a hero for perhaps Shell? Right now we see that the trend is that a lot of focus on the mid lane, and a
Bro,
lot of focus on the
Some
gold lane.
scrims would be nice
You might
right
expect
now.
them to start getting banned out in the second phase, so I really would suggest taking one for them in the first phase.
Looking at
Some
how
scrims
Bigatron
would
era
be
likes to
nice right
play,
now.
Honestly, at this point, it's so flexible. They can go for a goal laner here, but they just go for the Fredrin instead with the Lapu as well.
I'm
So
working
they're
on getting
literally just
permission
stopping
to do
their
watch
flex
parties of
potential-
MPL.
Potential for every single hero that they pick up here, right here in the first phase, right? The Fredrin, jungle, that's a Lapu in the XP, and the Kaja in the roam position. No more flex. But GPX doesn't have flex either.
Bro,
Well, GPX,
I thought it was going to
we
be
have seen
cold
flex coming
because it was
from them
cold
as
today
well. I mean,
outside.
just the
But my
previous
garage
match,
is
we
not
saw
cold. I put on this
Phobias that we haven't
jacket.
seen in
Honestly
a
though,
long
guys, I'm
time.
kind of sick,
So this
yo.
team certainly has some flexibility.
My whole house
but
is
they're
kinda
saving
sick.
it- They're saving it for the right moment right here. So for GPX, they might go for an XP lane right now before Bigatron can try and ban out the better options, or they
Maybe
can
I'll just
go
start
for maybe a
watching
roam
like
if they
this,
want to
bro.
try and get ahead in the
How's
early
this look?
game. They require a solid roamer to try and facilitate all these aggressive plays.
Okay, we'll see here. 1 second left on the clock. And the
Lolita.
answer it is going to be the Lolita pick. So they have prioritized that roaming position, trying to deny the aggressive and
Can't read chat like this.
engage potential.
can't
that
read
Bigatron
chat like
has
this.
With the Fredrin, with the Lapu Lapu, who particularly want to dive into the
Honestly, what I'm really ready for is
GPX
some
has.
patch
But
notes,
right
bro.
now here,
I feel like we haven't had
something
patch
where
notes in
Ruby
like
has
2
actually
months,
been
bro.
banned away from Bigatron.
We haven't seen, and like, so it's just the same. Like, I'm getting a little bored.
With their
Not gonna lie,
drafts, right?
guys.
Because initially, I think from the
It's
group
been the
stages, they
same
always
exact heroes for
prioritize
like 3
Sinise
months.
heroes, and they always flex
Since
default
a
to the
month
very
before
last pick
M4.
in order to
A
the
month or
last
2
phase here
before
of the
M4,
draft.
bro.
But in the grand finals, they're deciding to go a different route. Again, showing
There's not
that
5
they have
games, there's
multiple
only
strategies
3
to
Rits.
shelve. And with the
There's only
Benedetta ban
3.
as well, here,
It's a
they're trying to
sweep.
limit not just
Bigatron
the
wins.
XP lane, but also the jungle. With the Masha and the Benedetta banned out, it does feel like maybe they want to go for something like a Beatrix.
I'm not gonna
Kind of
lie, I felt a
struggles
bit
against
better.
Masha,
I
as
thought I
we've
was gonna
seen
come
literally
into
in
the
just
stream
game that
being
we saw
like,
before,
yeah, let's
where
go
GPX
in
picked it
tonight.
up.
And now,
Beatrix would make
per
a lot of
usual,
sense.
I'm like,
And for
bro, I'm
Bigatron, I
tired.
do feel like with their composition right now, they have a lot of crowd control, but they don't have the damage to back it up. If this is going to be a front to back, they require the DPS. If it's going to be a pick-off kind of composition of using the Kaja,
Barza
they need
on side of
burst damage.
BTR.
But for GPX, here comes
Or
the
what, Kadita
charisma,
get?
man.
Nope,
You
Kadita's
can
banned.
take the Lapu Lapu, will have that penalty zone to punish you in the game.
I mean, technically,
Good
that's
pick.
the only viable option that they have, right? With so many of them already banned away and the Fredrin and the Lapu being picked up, Terizla is going to be a really good pick, and he's going to be able to dominate in that lane. But
Or
Bigatron,
that Dictator.
now they're picking up a really risky hero
Wow,
with
too risky.
the
Bro.
Savior as well as the Moskov, which makes
I
sense,
think
right?
Bigatron
The
just
Moskov
knows
being
they're
back
the
away,
better
they
team.
don't want to they want to make sure that Xavier has a good time in that
But honestly,
back line. But now GPX, how are they going to
fuck
respond
Gia
to this?
Chong
They need
from
more time at
old
this point, right? I
Facebook
think at this
days? What's
point-
up, bro?
I'm I'm not sure about.
What's up, bro?
I don't think it's gonna be
Welcome.
an assassin. I don't think an assassin is a good pick here.
Martis?
Martis can be an option, but is going to kind of struggle against the poke coming in from Bigatron era.
Sheesh.
There's a lot of CC as well. If they really want to go up against this kind of composition, maybe something like a Barats.
Chung Lee in the house?
Nah, the Barats kind of is. Yeah, I don't really like the Barats anyway. Never mind, you know.
I think someone with a bit of crowd control can help here as well. Yes,
I don't
they
think
can
you need to
dive,
fuck
but-
with me,
Lunox jungle?
Trex.
Wait, Lunox jungle? Could it
I
be?
like it. You need to shred that front liner, but you also need to stay safe. This
I'm sorry to hear
is a
that,
pick
bro.
that works. Honestly, for me, I actually like
Lunox
GPX's
jungle?
draft. Yeah.
Pretty sure she's going to be
Not
casting an
Valentina?
No,
NACT.
not Valentina. It should be Lunox jungle. Clears a bit faster. We've seen how Lunox jungle can work. It was on an esports who picked it up at M4.
Chung,
when they
bro,
beat
I know,
the
it's
Valley,
crazy,
dude.
huh?
And
The
here,
Valley,
in the
dude.
grand
We went a
finals,
long fucking
looking at
way,
the draft,
bro.
personally for me, I think GPX have
We
the
went
better
a
draft. I
long
think it's super
freaking
well-rounded.
way.
If you take a look at just the laning, I would say Bigatron have a little bit of an advantage in the gold lane with the Moskov against the carry, but overall with the
What should
Lolita
I,
that can use the Guardian's Bulwark to cancel out the damage from Moskov and Xavier with the answer already with the single target burst towards both or three of the frontliners. I think
You think
GPX
it's
has
too
the
late
better
to
draft.
have flowers delivered?
Well, I think for Bigatron, they have a good mix of good range and AoE. And despite how it looks that GPS can just dive in the back line, having a Moskov allows for a bit more flexibility. So I think I would side with Bigatron on this one, actually.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to dive in. Not just yet. Hold your horses. We have a technical pause before entering the game here. It seems like there is a technical issue going on. Maybe possibly an emblem bug as they are pointing at their phones. Not too sure as to what.
What
has
should I-
happened.
what should I get?
Communication with us.
What should
Obviously,
I
fair
get,
point is our #1 priority here.
mother of my
GPX, they will
child?
Get their time to resolve the problem. Here, though, you can see the fans, or you can hear the fans going crazy for both GPX and BTR. What about you, Eterna? I said
A giant
personally,
teddy bear?
When it comes to draft, I like GPX. Arashi
I was
said
thinking about getting
BTR.
something delivered to her work while she's working.
Honestly, I haven't been a really huge fan of the Lunox. I know she's able to sustain a lot, but the damage output in that early game is a bit questionable. And I don't know how that's going to work against someone like the Fredrin, who is
That's what
going
I
to
was
be able to
thinking.
get those objectives really,
You guys
really
want to help me
easily.
order stuff?
This differs, though, once we enter that mid towards that late game, where the Lunox is going to have a little bit more say because of her passive and the way that she's able to shred through the defense coming in from these
are
really
nice.
tanky and beefy heroes.
I think a big problem here as well is for GPX. They are relying
I
on
feel
the
like
carry
roses
here.
are kinda
Everyone else,
overrated,
yes,
huh?
it's damage from the Lunox, but it's limited, right? You said
I
it
like
yourself. The
I like
gold lane
roses, but I
becomes
like something that's
the
like
main
mixed.
carry in the late game.
Like
so for
this
GPX,
one?
the fact that it's a carry
This
who
one
is
right
quite a
here?
short range against so much crowd control from Bigatron,
I don't know
I
if you
think they
guys
have a
can
chance
see
to
it or
just
not.
shut down GPX purely through brute force and crowd control.
Nope,
so it's
you
a
can't see it.
possibility for that to happen. And on the other flip side, if GPX were to dive towards the Moskov, a lot more
Maybe you can
mobile,
see it now.
having self crowd control as well, and later on, with
I'll show
the
you guys in a
dawning light
minute.
coming in from that Savior, carry is going to struggle so much, or be forced to itemize in a less optimal way. And maybe Bigatron, I think they will have what it takes to try and capitalize on that factor.
I mean, on that note, I'm actually curious about the Moskov and the carry lane matchup.
Moskov carry,
Yeah.
the matchup, Moskov does better, especially when it comes to all-ins because of the sustainability he has built into his kit. And overall, just even clearing waves, the
Better
carry
clear.
does, you know, lose out in the wave department.
Trader
When it comes
Joe's.
to trades too,
You know what else is
Moskov
great
has
about
a
Trader
bit of an
Joe's?
advantage because he can decide when
You know what
it's
else
done,
is?
when
I
the
never
trade
go
is
to
over
Trader
with the
Joe's.
second ability,
I'm
because
I'm a bit more old school. Give me
All
cheap,
back. Or he
shitty
can
food.
Go in and if,
But,
he wants to, if he feels
but
like he can just all in and win
I think well, the thing that Trader Joe's really has going for it
in and risk it like that, whereas
is
for
all the rich
carry,
white women
it's
in
just
yoga
less of a
pants.
possibility. And of course, it would come down to the emblems and battle spells as well. But I think for the most part, we can agree that
That's
Moskov is
definitely the best
better
thing it's got
in
going
the early
for
to
it.
mid game, but carry.
That's how they
in the
get
late
all the
game,
guys there.
especially
That's
against
how they-
so much tanking
That's
and
why
so
all
much
the
HP, will
workout
have the
guys go
benefit of
there.
That passive.
Let's be
I don't know
honest
about that. I
here.
think in terms of scaling, both of the team, both Moskov and Carry does pretty well against each other. The scaling, I think, if the Carry goes for Winning Nature, both goes for Winning Nature, then you can say Carry has a little bit of an advantage. But again, comes back to Moskov just saying, hey, get away once you pop that Winning Nature, right? So I think when it comes to scaling, it's both okay. I think Moscow might have a little bit of an advantage actually when it comes to scaling. Ladies and gentlemen,
We don't have to watch this
we're
for
gonna
too
dive
long.
in
MPL coming
straight
soon. I
to
know.
the
What is
land
it?
of Dawn.
4 days?
Bigatron
5
era
days?
on the blue side, starting on the
5
orange
days?
buff. Caramel starting
5 days,
on
yeah.
the purple buff.
Well, it is
Ready.
going to be a Lunox, so starting in the purple buff makes sense. It's Caramel with the Mystery Shop as the emblem, trying to get to that power spike as soon as possible. But of course, on the other side, Bigatron, they have Viva on the Demon Slayer Fredrin. It's more normal, I guess, less unique coming out from the side of Bigatron. And Shell already with the Inspire being used, so that gold lane, there's just a lot of aggression there, but might be a mistake.
Well, Chell is able to stop Tao from that engage. Gets a little bit of poke down too with the help of Vivian. And in the gold lane, you can already see the Moscow being a little bit more oppressive compared to Chin Chao, who's going to be shoved in again, losing out on the trade. See, this is so
Bro, Chin
annoying,
Chao, what
right?
are you doing,
the way
bro?
the passive works for Chell, Moscow.
Right. I mean, later on
Yeah,
in
but
the team fights,
Chin
it's
Chao was
also
just
a lot
sitting
of
there, though,
AoE
taking the
damage,
hits.
especially when everyone's clumped down together. But now it seems like there's going to be a bit of an engagement. And I do wonder, right? At this point, it does seem like Bigatron will have the advantage in the early skirmishes, especially once level 5 is here. But, ooh, then the GPS goes for aggressive plays first.
Not really going to work out just yet. Vivian saves her flicker as well.
Good try, good try. Already some movements coming in from GBX. They are trying to get the initial damage onto the members of Bigatron era, but they're not going to be able to do that just yet. I think it's going to be quite a slow early game, honestly, because both of these teams are going to be reliant on that level 4 to make those huge plays. But when it goes to that first turtle, both of them, they need to find that level 4 as soon as possible if they want to get the
Just shows who
advantage
is
on that
boss.
objective.
Taking the hits.
Later on, LW will
No,
also have a big
bro.
role to play
Yeah,
here.
you're
If
right.
she can
Never
get
mind.
to the back line, it's definitely a different fight altogether. And looking at the positioning, it might just be GPX with a bit more
A little
advantage.
early on that
Uh-oh,
ultimate
Vivian
Cine.
cutting Tao's movement off. The blast charged
Uh-oh.
in. That's onto one
Nice.
member. Only Vival who gets caught. Fumienko into the back line with the bravest fighter. Going for the stun. Gets Tao. Vivian already with the help of
Stall.
Vival. So much damage. Caramel as well. Super low.
Oh.
Fumi flickers forward. It's first blood over the Bigatron era. It's another onto
First
the
and
hands
second.
of Vival. Now with
GG's.
divine judgment as
GG's.
well. LW is going to be locked down. Flickers out to
GG's.
safety. Cine waiting.
Like, what
desperately
exactly
for
is the
that
other team
cooldown
doing wrong,
for
though,
the-
right? Like, oh my god. That's disgusting.
GPX with a
They're
bit
working
more
on
advantage.
this.
Uh-oh.
I guess it's 4-4. It's 4v4.
Vivian cutting Tao's movement.
That's all. Doesn't have
The
flickers.
blast
so-
charged in. That's onto one member. Only
Eco.
Vival who gets caught.
Oh, everyone
Fumienko
gets
into
caught
the
up by
back line with the
Eco,
bravest
bro.
fighter. Going for the stun. Gets Tao. Vivian
Oh my
already with the
God.
help of Vival dealing so
Who does Funi use the suppression? Oh my god.
Vivian cutting Tao's movement off. The blast charged in. That's onto one member. Only Vival who gets caught. Fumienko into the back line with the bravest fighter. Going for the stun. Gets Tao. Vivian already with the help of Vival dealing so much damage. Caramel as well. Super low.
Oh.
Fumi flickers forward. It's first blood over the Bigatron era. It's another onto the hands of Vival. Now with divine judgment as well. LW is going to be locked down. Flickers out to safety. Cine waiting desperately for that cooldown.
Bro, dude
for
just sit.
the ultimate.
Come
There
on.
you go. I called it. I knew
Come
it.
on, bro.
They went for it, and that's another for BTR.
3-0 trade for Bigatron era here in the 3rd minute.
Mirko's
1,000
happy,
gold
bro.
lead, a bit
He's
more
a Bigatron
now
fan.
that they've been able to secure that turtle. And this is
Even if it's
this
the
was my
girls, he's a
concern
Bigatron
about
fan,
the
bro.
Lunox jungle. Sure, in the mid towards the late game, when the Lunox is a little bit more viable in terms of that damage, we will see Bigatron era start to sweat. But in this early game, this Fredrin, even the Lapu Lapu, for all they know, is going to have huge pressure onto the Lunox and denying all these neutral objective takes away from GPX Bustering.
It's definitely going to be a very tough game for Chin Chao of all people, because that's how Bigatron era likes to play. They like to shut down your main carries, and you saw that in the previous fight. Like, everyone just gets zoned out completely. Even though LW tried to do the same, it's just not the same kind of speed, the same kind of threat that comes in from a Lapu Lapu with the bravest fighter. So with a 1.5k gold lead right here, Bigatron era can push the tempo, but I think they're going to play it just slightly a bit more calculatively, because they require like a 5v5 in order to get the best value out of all these combos.
I mean, up to this point, I'm not too worried about Chin Chao. We've seen her
I'm
in
so ready
positions
for
where
an
she's really
ACT, guys.
behind, where she's really pressured, and eventually she's still
What do you
able
guys
to
think
make
Zane's
it, but
gonna
look
do?
at this, Bigatron era.
What do you guys think
People
Zane's
are
doing?
perhaps onto her.
I keep going by his
Look at the
stream and
movement
trying to
from
figure
GPS as
out.
well. Limit on blast. Not able to connect onto anyone. Vivian still has the flicker. Down below, Fumi Echo in 1v1 against a lane bully. What?
Fumi's pretty good.
Echo. This is
Fumi's
a
pretty
losing
good.
matchup for the Lapu. The Terizla is the one
Fumi's
forced
actually
to recall away, and that's going to be a wave
decent
cut,
EXP
giving
laner.
Fumi Echo a little bit more time to play. Chell getting
Like-
the stun down onto Tao, goes in for another stun. Mystic Field stopping Chin Chao from dealing any more damage. Maybe over the Divine Judgment
I'm
as
not
well.
saying
That's
Fumi's
the
like,
dying line to follow it through. Chell
world
around-
class,
Oh!
but
Chin
definitely
Chao
class
forced the
above the
flicker.
XP
Out, that's
laners
the
that she's
Spear
playing
of
against.
Destruction.
Like,
Barely missing.
and that's
Let's talk
something
a
that I
little bit
feel
about
like
the
is
global
kind of
presence
sad,
here,
right? Like, I
because
do
Dawning
feel like
Light
some of these
and
players
Spear-
could be in MDL, could be in
It's
some
just
higher
a
ranks,
tough situation for
and
anyone.
they're never
It can
going
be
to
used so
grow
dynamically
if
as
they
well.
stay in
Yes, it does
this.
damage, and you can secure
Because you can
kills
just
with it,
tell,
but
Fumi's
it can be comboed. Like in the first fight earlier,
Fumi's
we
always
saw
winning
that
the lane.
Spear actually do so much
Always
damage to everyone that it actually hit
just-
in that fight, 3 or 4 members. And later on, it can be used to scout for information. It can be used to stop recall. So the usage,
Fumi needs to be
especially in the hands
challenged.
of a team as creative as Bigatron Era, it's just a very terrifying possibility.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to highlight, right? It's not just damage, but also map visibility and even a chance to steal the neutral objective.
Yeah.
the girl
Yes.
team should
Time
come.
it
They should come to
properly.
NA.
But now, Bigatron
Come to
Era
NA,
still
playing
4,000 gold
NACT.
GPX trying to fight
People
back,
would
trying
love
to
them. The
find some
Sims would go
compensation on the
crazy.
board. But so far, Bigatron Era, they haven't been playing towards GPX.
And they would
last year.
probably
haven't
do decent.
been
They'd probably
playing
be like a
towards their
top 8
tempo.
team.
They're setting the tempo, and right now it's paying off.
Oh no, there
Fine
goes.
judgment again. Tao brought back to the team. That's the 5th kill of the game in the 5th minute of the game. Viva looking for the 6th in the 6th minute of the game. Gonna be able to actually follow it through. Brilliance already popped in. Caramel caught. Still is able to run away. Chin Chao dealing his damage back again to zone BTR, but that's a structure up top. Picked up tier 1 for BTR Era as the Terizla is able to shove in the way, but with Fumi Echo rotating back, she decides to recall.
It's a 4K goalie for Bigatron,
Wow.
but early on, you did see. We were seeing
Bro,
that
what?
Fumi Echo was so dominant in the lane.
What was
she
that?
just finished the Bloodlust Axe, so she was doing all that without the extra bit of sustain. So maybe we'll see in the highlights later on, but that is a very impressive performance. And now Bigatron, they are not letting up on this pressure, man.
Seal play for
Jungle,
nothing, bro.
mid, top, everywhere is not safe for the members of GPX.
Yeah,
Pur-
because again, the
purple
dawning
buff.
light, right, just comes through and checks in the bush. That's Chell who picks up her 2nd turret
5K
of
gold
the game.
lead. It's GG's.
Down below in the tier
5-0.
1, using the siege again properly. Using
The
lane swap as
GPX
well.
logo
GPX
kind of
still
looks
behind
like
when it comes to the lane swap
Pokemon.
game right now. Fumi Echo once again playing that weak side of the map, doing it really well.
Looks
playing
like the
bush, not
Pokemon
really going
cards
for
with
anything
that,
too crazy.
what is it,
Will be
Star,
able to dish out a little bit of
or
damage.
fucking-
Oh, go for a 1v1 here against Chin Chao.
X
who
Factor,
has the
some
flicker,
shit.
gets out of damage.
Oh, nice
Jumping
clean.
in the Raven Fighter! Oh my goodness gracious, Fumi against her ex-team. Vivian steps back in, finds the kill. That's the Mystic Field to lock Tao down. The Divine Judgment to bring Tao back. Sini is looking for more. Just one more hit. Sini's waiting for the Dawning Light again. Will it come back in time? Fumi looking for the Divine Judgment by here in that top
Oh!
side. That's the Dawning Light not connecting.
Oh,
Sini on the Xavier. Chell, her sister in the mid lane, taking the tier 1.
This is brutal. This is brutal for GPX, and right now, Bigatron Era.
Messi,
with
Messi,
the
Messi,
space that they have
Messi.
created, they are going to be able to steal away the buffs away from GPX as we're heading into an instant replay of what exactly happened to Chin Chao there.
Look at that, Fumi Echo baited out the dash initially and then went into the Bravest Fighter. Afterwards, once the flicker was used, she followed in with the flicker last second to catch her in that stun, and that was the end of it. A
Yeah,
very
Bigatron's
impressive play
just
by
that
Fumi
much.
Echo
They're-
to start the sequence of events
And it's-
that
it's-
now I
it's
think
not
leads to
like
Bigatron
they're-
Era having full
it's not
control
like
of
they're
the map.
kind of
Even
better.
the jungle is no
Like,
longer
they're
safe.
just a league ahead of
GPX
these other
forced to
teams.
turtle around their structures as Bigatron Era.
They need to-
still with
they
the
need to do
global
something
presence,
with them.
the poke advantage. They have all the tools available to just siege GPX consistently. GPX need to do something crazy, otherwise this is you know, an eventuality that Bigatron Era will actually come out on top.
I mean,
And, like,
honestly,
just to
right
kinda
now,
put
with the
this
way
into
that Bigatron
perspective
Era is playing,
of how much
I am
Bigatron
kinda
Era is
curious to
better
see
than
the
all of these other
development of
teams
the items from GPX
is, like,
last ring. Because previously in the, I think the 6th minute,
GPX
the Lunox was
swept
only
the
able to
whole
get that
lower
clock of
bracket,
Destiny,
right?
but here
Like
you
they didn't
go.
lose a
How
single
far?
game in the
See,
bracket
still a
either.
clock of Destiny.
And they
She's
get
falling so far
swept by
behind
Bigatron
the
Era,
opponent's
who
jungle.
also
She's
swept
been taken
everyone
out
in the upper
twice, and
bracket.
she's
Like,
losing out on
just
her
to kind of
own
put that into
jungle as
perspective,
well.
like
Look
they're
at
making
the
GPX look
positioning
bad
early on
right
for
now.
Bigatron, and
They're
even
not
look
just
at
beating
now.
them;
They're just waiting in the jungles and almost never in the same bush. Just
they're
waiting
making them
to
look
catch the members
silly.
of GPX
You know what I'm
off
saying?
guard,
Like they're
and they have
just
more than enough crowd control to engage first and even re-engage on GPX's counter attack. So they have all the tools available, man. I keep
in
saying
all
it,
lanes.
but it is true. So with the Lord coming up right here, GPX, they have their backs against the wall, against their own base essentially.
That gave me flashbacks of the Sanford play, man. My goodness, Fumi Echo against her ex-team, by the way, right?
Yeah.
GPX. She's tearing it apart. Chell with a free Lord. First Lord not contested at all. 10,000 gold lead before the 10th minute of the game. They take away everything in the enemy jungle.
1,000
GPX
gold lead a
are
minute,
forced to
average.
group up together
Averaging
in the
1,000
orange
gold
side of the
lead
map.
a minute.
And this is brutal, man. You can see the level differences already. Chell as a gold laner, 2 levels up. Fumi Echo, 2 levels up.
Caramel Vival, 3.
I mean, look at Chincha, right? She can't find any place to farm. Now, finally,
Yeah,
but
it's
early
GG's.
on, just the mere
GG's
fact
next.
that Bigatron Era are not on the map, that is enough concern for her to just disappear and back away. Caramel now has the Lightning Truncheon, but we'll have to see, will that be enough damage in the next fight? It needs to all go to the right person. But who is it? That is the main question.
I mean, at this point, target one person, then the other will
Yep.
step up. It's like you're up against a Hydra, right?
Oh.
Multiple heads. Chell now gonna go for the siege. For me, Echo looking for a big play again. Donning Linus Tau. Ow!
Oh!
Cancel down
Oh.
by Vivian, who finds the Divine Judgment. LW
GG's,
with the penalty
GG's.
zone. Defensively moving. Echo with the bravest fire and a stun out to 3. City with the flicker forward. Now with a mini wave up and ready. They're gonna go for the end. Caramel's gonna lose.
Oh!
That's the Dawning Light. BTR with 0 members taken down. Dominance doesn't do it justice. 11-0. Complete destruction, annihilation from Bigatron in game 1.
Barely 11 minutes was all
Is
it
there
took
any
for
other
Bigatron
tournaments
Era
going
to
on
show
right now?
that much dominance in game
What the
number
heck?
1. Basically 1 kill a minute. And they were already falling so far behind. It was very difficult to see how
11-0.
GPX was able to come back from that.
In
They
11
tried-
minutes.
Exactly.
Blink and you'll miss it, man. You
Wow.
think it takes some time for them to crack open the base of GPX? No, it takes one moment. They see the chance. It happens just like that. Considering
MPL
we've just seen
Cambodia
GPX,
started.
They have a very close competitive game against Omega. This just makes it look even more impressive for Bigatron, man.
Just give the
Seafood
MVP.
tournament.
Oof.
This is the finals, yeah.
Or City, or Vivo,
Dude,
or
exactly,
Vivian,
right?
Anyone.
or just
What's this?
take it.
All-star team, bro.
We have a shared MVP
Oh, Brazil?
for this team.
What the heck? 11-0, 11 minutes. Arashi, this is unheard of. When was the last time
That's
you
a
saw an
tournament?
11-minute game in a grand finals?
With 0 kills.
Is the
man.
gap that huge? That's the big question I have now.
That's heartbreaking for GPX. They tried their best for sure. We saw the adjustments happen. We saw the plays attempted, but Bigatron just read them like a book, like a PDF file, we usually say. They just knew what to do, and every time the play comes in, they just counter with something even better. Wow, is it all from the drafts?
I mean, I thought GPX won the draft. Again, I feel
It
like
hasn't
they
started
had the
yet.
winning lanes. They had the win conditions set in stone. It just really feels like they just got outplayed in the lanes.
Lunox jungle.
Honestly, I'm a fan of the Lunox jungle. I
It
felt
really
like
depends.
it really depends, but yeah, I feel like they had proper mid control. They had a winning lane in the XP lane. I feel like, again, it's just these lanes should not be losing.
But so like has
Yeah, the
I don't
XP lane. I mean, we're talking about a Lapu Lapu against a Terizla matchup, and somehow pre-Bloodlust Axe, Fumi
Yeah,
Echo
exactly.
was dominating. Not even winning, by the way. Dominating, sending
Just 1 HP.
Terizla home.
sending the Terizla back like twice, like without going back herself. What is going on? It's mind-blowing.
I can
no, it
understand.
hasn't started yet.
Maybe after level 4, where the bravest fighter, if she
Right.
gets a lead early on, she can literally just steamroll the Terizla. But at that point, they were still pretty equal in lane, and even from the get-go, Terizla, who has much better trading tools, much better weapons to actually take that early game and maybe zone and get an advantage, wasn't able to. Up against, again, Fumi Echo, who was before in GPX.
Question is, did that draft suit their playstyle?
That's a big question,
Right,
and that's a
because
very good question.
If we want, because when we see GPX at their peak, they play aggressively from that early game. I'm not sure if this draft suited them, which is why I didn't like the Lunox jungle.
Yeah.
I do understand it can work,
I agree.
but in this particular case where the safe, patient playstyle isn't really their forte, do
When
they
does
really wanna force
MDLPH
something
start?
Like that?
Well, keep in mind, the most picked hero for GPX, if I'm not mistaken, was the Martis, right? We saw that earlier. I think Bigatron will possibly be using. It just suits their flexible playstyle because Yves, given the right item builds and the right battle spells, you can go aggressively, you can go defensively. It's just very... Oh, but actually they banned it out. So I spoke too soon there.
Yeah, Hayabusa is left open here.
Again.
We also do have the
card is-
Faramis, the carry as well, but GPX, they see the potential, the value of the carry. They are going to be able to secure this first. Bigatron Era with a response.
I like it now, right? I mean, they banned out the Kaja already, the Kadita as well. There's two heroes
So there's
instantly that can, you know, really be a massive problem for that carry. Now it's answered.
Oh.
They pick up a Hilda and a Brody, a bully laner instantly, trying to get some control in the jungle too. Oh, this Hilda is also a pretty good flex now.
Wow. I wonder if the idea is that Bigatron wants to just go really
I don't know.
aggressively and then
There's
try to
literally
switch
nothing
it up.
going
You see
on,
that teams
guys.
do struggle.
There's
after,
MDL,
after two close
but
games.
it's all
if
foreign,
the
bro.
opponent just switches
It's
up,
literally, it's
like
on
how
right
GPX
now.
did actually, from being very aggressive to very passive. It is quite difficult, so Bigatron still has that to play around with since they're going for something aggressive right now.
They just don't have an
But
English desk.
GPX, they get that Faramis that Bigatron usually bans
There you
out.
go, comfort.
All right. So
So it's
already
like
a more
rough,
comfortable
it's,
jungler
you know.
in the hands of Caramel.
And definitely
You know,
wisest too, right? Because you don't want to be risky taking something like the Ling or even the Hayabusa, but you see the Hilda being in the hands of Bigatron. It's going to be a little bit difficult to stay and sustain and have an impact to the game as a jungle. But right now, Bigatron with the last pick here, what is it going to be?
Honestly, they can go for something like, they can go for mid laner here. Valentina is still up for grabs up against the Faramis. They can just take the Cult Altar away. Provides an answer to that Cult Altar with a Cult Altar for your own team.
Have you guys seen
Aside
the
from that, if you
video?
really wanna go
So
for mid
the
control,
halftime
maybe
show happened with
Lilia, an
Rihanna,
option.
and there's a video of
They
the
go for Savior, so more
the sign
utility.
language
We saw
interpreter.
earlier that
She is
Tini
like
is just
bumping,
devastating
yo.
on that Savior. But now I'm wondering, like, is there a possibility this Hilda will unexpectedly get flexed? I just got that feeling earlier. That might be exactly what Bigatron is thinking about, because they usually flash some information to their enemies in hopes of throwing them off the actual game plan. So now, with the Masha banned out, it can still go to the EXP lane, kind of, the Hilda, and it's usually very annoying unless you have a very specific counter matchup to it.
It is very good. The Glue usually loses to the Hilda too, so a lane bully like Glue usually even loses.
Yeah, they need
I
me for the
mentioned that
English
Joy
desk,
loses
bro.
too. Up
Yeah.
against Yuuzhan, I mean,
should.
there's not really a lot of heroes that Hilda loses to. I think
I
the
would
only
do
one
it.
that can go even
If I could get like
trades and all
gigs
in,
like that,
probably
like
Charisma,
full time,
but
bro.
Overall, Hilda can just sustain back up with by getting into the bush. Ling though, banned away already. You can see just some assassin pressure being... This is interesting, right? They already have a Martis jungle, but they still respect that assassin so much.
For Vevel on the side of Bigatron, that Ling was dangerous.
Oh.
And if they want to play around Chin Chow, it makes sense that you want to try and get the assassins out of the way because it's dangerous. So for Bigatron, they actually ban out that Franco. I guess denying the chance for GPX to just check those bushes. And of course, if they want to go for an assassin, that's a good ban to try and deny that Bloody Hunt.
Ban
Haya,
Haya.
Fanny,
I think
that's
they need
still
to
an
ban Haya.
option right now. Benedetta is on the table, but the Benedetta is going to be taken away by GPX, which means that they don't mind maybe if Bigatron pick up something like the Hayabusa. They think that the Benedetta could be a worse threat.
Well, the Hayabusa with high and dry is not what you'd look for when you're up against a composition that sticks together like GPX.
Yeah, but GPX is gonna
You know,
lose.
look at their composition, right? It's literally a front to back with the Faramis grouping up together. It's a front to back. BTR, they can still go
It's
for the
already over,
Hayabusa,
guys.
Put some more additional pressure on the lane, but they go for the roamer first. So it is a Hilda in the
Can we talk
XP
about day
lane.
one though,
It's
bro?
the first XP lane
Day
Hilda
one
that
of
we're seeing here at
MPLPH,
MWI.
Echo versus
Very
Blacklist.
interesting.
Yeah.
I think Haya is just set up.
Lydio.
Ruby?
Ruby, maybe, but depends on how they want to play this out. Because right now, they might have to try and mitigate or find a way to deal with the Lolita, right? They need some crowd control to ensure that the Numeron Blast can be cancelled out, and they have to make sure that they find a way to try and bait out the Bulwark, because otherwise all the damage coming in from Chinchao will get just blocked out by that Bulwark.
I like the Atlas because of the CC, but if Bigatron are gonna pick up an Assassin, I think the Ruby is way more reliable than the Atlas.
I think at this point, if BTR actually go for an Assassin, you already have an answer with the Faramis, the Call Altar. You're grouping up already together. You need something. Best of both worlds. You can lock people down. You can also go for engages, but a bit riskier when it comes to engaging. Once you go in, there's no going out. That's the Kufra pickup. And the Fredrin in the XP.
Look at all those dudes.
Gets flexed into the XP, and it's
all the fangirls in the crowd.
BTR.
All the fanboys.
Here's the call. Hayabusa, Lancelot, Fanny. Still open, but what? Wow.
Hold on.
Hanzo.
Hold on.
Oh,
where's Dave at,
Dave
bro?
is so happy right now.
They said it too. We all thought it. The cast up, bro. Hold on. Hold on. I gotta send this clip to Dave. I love how all the casters go, Assassin Dave would be so happy right now.
Lancelot, Fanny, still open, but what? Wow.
It's a Hanzo.
Oh, Assassin Dave would be so happy right now.
In a way, right, with all the strong laners, I'm telling you, if they get some steamrolling, that Hanzo will deny every single buff from the hands of GPX. This is dangerous.
Where's Dave at, bro?
He's been mentioning, right, on how like assassins really struggle in the jungle on how to clear. Well, the Hanzo, I think, is the only hero who actually clears faster than any utility jungler. It's gone just like that.
Wow.
Hanzo up against this comp is beautiful too, because no one can dive, can go to his shadow, to his real body form. It's such a brilliant pick.
Yeah.
It's so disgusting, I'll say that, right? Because they've saved it all the way. They didn't show it. I've seen a Hanzo before from BTR at WSL. I think it was season 4 or 5, but bringing it out here, it is brilliant.
Again, Susugaja and his drafts, man. I mean, the only person that could find the real Hanzo would either be the Hilda or the Masha. But they systemized those bans in a way that both of them were taken out as we're jumping into the second game.
Ladies and gentlemen, the portal here taking us to the land of dawn will mean that game number 2 has begun. GPX versus Bigatron Era. 1 game away from match point for BTR. And for GPX, they have a chance to equalize here, make it a bit closer. As Funi actually jumps in with a Stampede, bringing Cine back. Tal not going to be able to follow that up for now. Cine early on recalling already.
Well, it's going to be Caramel with a Demon Slayer in the jungle, so finally a comfort pick. We'll see how well it does, though. And then the question now is Fumi Echo. On those flashier heroes, we've seen that she's able to just pull off those crazy bravest fighters, etc. But now on the Hilda, are we just going to see just Hilda domination, just running at you, slowing you? And oof, GPX needs to be very careful about grouping together like that, because the AoE from Cine, that's devastating, but later on, it will come from Vival as well as Vivian with a Numeron Blast, so spacing is impeccable here.
Spacing is key. It's going to be very important as well.
I just think it's hilarious that
I was expecting a little bit of
they
more
were like,
pressure
I
coming
did
in from
message Dave real
Era
quick.
here in the early game. It does seem like the Hilda is focused.
The fact that the moment, that's how staple
but once again,
that is for Dave, and how much he like mentioned it before. He would always be like, they could pick Hanzo, and we would all laugh and chuckle about it. But the moment it gets picked,
Bigatron Era are planning to pull off this Hanzo.
I think they're just going to play it slow and then look for a chance to just sneak into the jungle and just slowly but surely joink the camps coming in for Caramel. And without that income, it's going to be quite difficult. But now, you can see that the aggressors, I think for now, GPX does have a bit more control on the turtle. But does Bigatron want to play for that? That's the real question.
Oh my god, even when it comes to like mid control here, the Soul Reap from Hanzo actually does such a good job at clearing. And Fumi Echo is, again, on a very good weak side map player. I mean, look at this. Even a 2v1, and Fumi actually wins out in the trade up against Funi and LW. Now, she's still going in. She's able to sustain back up. The Stampede brings him back, but a Mystic Field comes in. And that's a Daunting Light as well. Vivian going to be caught here. Still gets to level 4. Vival now jumping back in with a Soul Reap onto LW. That's the main focus. Vival can always just go back to her main body. Fumi Echo with the power of Wild, the City gets the kill. It's a Mystic Field to seal the deal. Funi is down.
Wow, the longer this game goes, it's only going to get more confusing because for GPX, they have so many things to do, especially to try and counter Vival and Bigatron. They just, enforcing their will onto GPX, and now they have some more space to maneuver it, but once Vival gets some more items, becomes an actual one-shot machine for the backline members, they're going to be really confused on where to even move. Do you go forward to try and stop the Hanzo, or do you try and back away and hope that it won't be enough damage coming in from Vival?
What's the name of the host for M4? I can't believe I can't remember her name. Mara.
No way, she gets out, she gets out! Chell! BTR with the follow-up. Numenon blast onto Caramel, still able to get out, but Chell, my goodness, what an escape.
I was about to say that Tal has her work really cut out for her, right? Because she has to decide what is more important. She chooses to find a pickoff onto Shell, but even that doesn't really come to fruition. And GPX Blaster have actually wasted a rotation where Bigatron Era was able to get that turtle for free, and right up until this point, GPX, they have nothing in compensation.
Bigatron Era also has a very unique situation here. They can use the Hanzo ultimate to actually pop that Cult Altar. We saw it happen in the mid lane, so this might be a very unorthodox situation or solution from Bigatron Era to deal with that Faramis. They've been banning away the Faramis. This is probably why they're hiding this strat.
Man, and here as well, I mean, we mentioned it, right? The winning matchup, Brody versus Carry. They're going to be able to utilize this to get a little bit of siege potential down. Tal as well on the Kufra. She can't engage. Remember, high risk, high reward. You jump in, there's no escape. She wants to go for it. Finds Tal, brings her back, but Tal just stuns Tal back up. The bouncing ball's a bit late, and who's here? It's Viva! And Vivian with the now blast catching Funi out. It's another kill for Chell. Vivo's under the turret, wanting to go for more, but she's just gonna get back to her normal form. 3-0. Dawning Light comes back in to get the mid lane slow pushing back to GPX.
It doesn't seem like Bigatron Era needs to look for something in particular because they're just waiting on GPX Blastering to go in for an initiative play and actually counter engage. And every time they do that, they come out on top. And right now, they're not standing idly by here.
Oh my god.
Already on to the next turtle, but look at this.
There's no way she survives this.
Yeah, that's way too much.
That's the first kill in this series for GPX Blastering. BTR going to be able to trade it back with a turtle.
Whew. It's such a tough situation because if they can try and get a pickup on Vival, one of the Hanzo's main weaknesses is the inability to just go backwards, right? To retreat effectively. So they can try and do that, but they group as 5 on the top side. Tal goes in.
Rage and Revenge, Numenon blast charged in. Chell able to flicker out for a bit, but the bouncing ball seals her fate. Vivian still all alone. GPX finally showing life in this best of 5 series. 2-3. They're on their way to equalize. Vival looking for something back, not able to find it.
They just keep doing the same thing again and again. Bigatron, they're just pressuring with Fumi Echo, and then once everyone's confused on where to go, that is where Vival finds ways to try and gets towards the squishier members of the back line. That is where Vivian can start looking for a play, and just like that, Vival, free dives, no risk of losing her life here.
Luckily for Chinchao, she still has a dash, right? Still able to get out away from that potential pickoff from Bigatron Era, but you're right here. GPX Blastering, they have kind of started to figure it out. They try to play for the opposite side of the map, try to look for an opposing
They have to type for pause?
But, wow.
There's a pause. Pause.
Crowd's getting really into
Damn,
it here.
I'm watching
A late
NACT,
pause,
guys.
Unfortunately, Tal requested it, and now we're going to see that pause happen. We'll have that issue resolved for a bit.
Whew. So far, this game is unique, right? We expected both teams to go aggressively, but
by the rivers of Babylon, there we sat down.
And they each know that if they make a mistake, the other party will not let it go. They've been playing relatively safe until they can get something that's, it's not exactly safe, but low risk. And that is why you can see Bigatron, they're just waiting for the right opportunity, and then they go for ganks with multiple members, or they're just send Viva on that Hanzo to try and peek around, try and harass, do some damage, burn the Cult Altar, you name it. And at the same time, she can do so because it doesn't take long for Hanzo to farm at all due to the nature of his kit. He can just consume one of the jungle minions and it just gets taken by default, kind of, given enough time. So this is a very time-efficient strat coming in from Bigatron.
Got some spicy comments.
Yikes.
here.
You wanna translate, Mirko?
You wanna translate?
Basically, GPX, when are you gonna break your fast? Because they've been fasting tournaments, I guess. That's what he meant. Trophies. 3-0 BTR win to add on to that here. The crowd still very confident for BTR. I mean, you can kind of understand why. The first game was absolutely just one-sided. Here, you can finally see GPX
It's not 20
showing
tournaments.
signs of
We just
life,
looked it
doing a
up.
lot of good movements.
It's
Just unfortunate that some of them
they've won the
challenged
last
able to get away, and
17
some
out of
actually
18.
were
And
ended
one,
off
the
by
one that they
jumping
haven't
into the
gotten
fight like
is
we saw on the
second
bottom
place.
side.
The counter
Last
engagements
17
from
out of
Bigatron have been
18.
really
What's
good,
up, Daya?
right? The only way that they were able to pick up Shell
You can
there
definitely
top
tell
side
they're
was
just
because
like
the other members
in
from
a
the side of
league
Bigatron
in a
era
league
weren't
above,
there
man.
yet, so they couldn't do the counter
They
escape,
need
but
to
I
they
think
need to
that's
move
something
on to
that
bigger things,
GPX
I
Blaster
think.
can actually utilize to their advantage.
They should really try out for an MDL
Find
somewhere.
a way
Even if they have to
to
move,
split
or an
them
MPL
up,
somewhere.
and they're going to be able to get more
Go to
pickoffs on the
Singapore or
board,
some
but
shit.
the technical issue has been resolved as we're jumping straight back into the game here between GPX Blastering and Bigatron Era for game number 2.
We talk about Hilda being a very dominant laner, but I do feel like later on it's going to be more and more difficult for the side of GPX to deal with this Hilda unless they can stun her long enough for Chin Chao to just shred through that HP bar. But of course, Fumi herself will be trying to go all the way bum rushing Chin Chao. So in the long fight, when there's objective on the line, that means that your gold lane is going to be zoned away by default, or they might just use the cult altar. So I think how Bigatron Era approaches the fight and what can they burn before the fight even begins is also something that GPX can use to try and get an advantage here on top of that speed difference where they can actually get a pick-off with multiple members like earlier.
Right now, again, we'll see how that works, right? Shell, oh my god, the Dawning Light actually takes half of Funi's HP bar here. And they might try to look for the siege in the mid lane now. They've already lane swapped to the bottom lane, taking the tier 1 down. The Lord has spawned in the game. Even though it's 2-3, it still just feels like Bigatron Era have most of the map pressure, even here.
And it makes sense, right? Because Bigatron Era, they have heroes who have really high mobility.
Down.
So the Hilda is going to be able to roam around the map really easily. The Hanzo as well, in particular. And we're going to see here, as the Lord has already spawned in the Land of Dawn, what they can actually do with this.
Jeez.
And that's Fumi with a tank build.
Right, just using all the spells, going for the ultimate for good measure, because it doesn't matter if she doesn't get the kill, and Lumen Blast will neutralize the cult altar and allow Bigatron to get a free Lord there. That worked out perfectly for them.
Not even a trade.
Even the lane swap initially, right? That means that Chin Chao is now in a more exposed area of the map. That will allow Vivo to go for those easy pickoffs as well. Everything is calculated here, man.
Both lanes are quite exposed, right? I guess the best way is for her to go to the bottom side, but you're right, even then she is going to be super exposed. That's exactly what Bigatron Era have in mind from the beginning. They know and understand that the main anchor is... Oh, in the mid side here, Vivian.
Gets the chance revenge. Good disengage from BTR again. There's no real commitment from GPX now. Tao charging it up. Gets Fumi Echo down. There you go. GPX back at it. Equalizing his goal for the Numenal Blast. Now is going to be charged in. Funi's going to be caught in the Numenal Blast. Stunned up as well. No cult altar. Finally has it here. Vivo jumping back in with a Soul Reap onto Caramel now. Just zoning the other members away from the mid lane turret to be taken down. Vivo still under the base turret.
I have to see
too.
some. Sorry,
Going
guys,
back
I'm getting
to her
distracted.
Original body. It's a tier 2. Again, you're seeing the kills come through, but it's just objectives after objectives from BTR.
Yeah, it's been like a year
Almost like a
since
feeding
they've
Hilda
lost.
strategy coming in from Fumi Echo. Because now,
And it's not like that
Chin
they're
Chao
just
with the golden
winning,
staff
they're like
can do enough
sweeping
damage to just
tournaments. Like
shred
they didn't
through
lose
the
a
HP
single
bar.
game in the
But
group
at what
stage
cost,
or the
right? They
bracket
use
of this
so
tournament.
much utility, they use so much of their resources to try and get that to happen.
But even with the damage coming in from Team Chao, the damage that she receives from Shell definitely needs to be respected here as they are vying for that top lane turret.
What a sidestep there by Vivian. Even there, you're seeing just micro masterclass coming in from the players individually.
Now with Bigatron Era, 4K gold ahead and having Vival level 13 here, essentially power farming. Surprisingly not being super ahead in levels, but she can just go in aggressively at no cost. So by default, the Squisher members from GPX have to stay within the base. So it's a very troublesome situation to be in. And I can't help but feel that no one expected the Hanzo to be this effective. Going in with the Corrosion Scythe and now the Golden Staff as well. So if you look at the items here, as we were talking about it,
Wow.
Demon Hunter Sword, Golden Staff, Corrosion Scythe. You would think it's like a marksman build, but it's going to be the Hanzo. They can do a lot of DPS, just basic attacking again and again. So a different approach from the usual assassins we usually see.
And even the Xavier is not even full build yet. And he's already dealing so much damage. And I think that's got to be one of the most annoying parts, right? Like, pretend you're a Kufra. Like, imagine you're a Kufra. You're trying to look for a proper engage, but even before you get that perfect moment, you just get chucked down to half health. It's so frustrating. Look at Tal.
Yeah, Vivo is just targeting the roamer down, dealing so much damage. And yeah, like you said, Tal, that's the engage potential of Tal gone. She was spotted in the map. She's forced to recall, and she was low. So guess what? Vivian gets to control the entire bot side jungler or jungle area. And for me, it's just waiting that bush, that death bush that always works.
I like the crowd. I love it.
Yeah, all holding our breath here
I
to
mean,
see what's going to happen.
I
It's
would
gonna
say
be an
GPX is having a
altercation,
better game
and
this
Caramel
time, but
will
it's
be
still...
backing away. Her team is here to try and help out, but Bigatron Era with that space, with that window, they have control over the Lord. And again, if they want
It's
to
not
check for
enough.
vision, they can just send Vival's clone out there essentially. And it's no issue at all, as Fumi Echo just zones everyone.
Oh, Tal finds a revenge and a rage onto Cindy, but she flickers out.
Still nothing, though.
Goes in for more
Nothing.
damage, but look at the damage coming back. Vivian's still alive, but Decimation finally gets him up.
Caramel
Vivo
finds
is
one,
wreaking
that's
havoc
good.
in the
Bethal,
background to help Chell.
every time.
There's Chell picking up a kill.
This
Fumi
is the
was
same
gonna
thing
say
that happened
1
last
for
game.
2.
So
Even
every
then, it's
time
BTR who actually
GPX,
finds the better
they
trade.
find
It's
someone,
a roamer traded in for
but
a gold
Bigatron
laner and
splits
a
them
roamer.
up somehow,
Ooh, we have a pause here,
or
ladies and gentlemen.
Caramel or
Please be
somebody
patient
gets
as we
out
try
of
to sort
position
out
and
these
leaves the rest of their
issues.
team behind,
Wow,
opens
the
up,
timing, though,
and that
do
just
wonder if that
lets
played a
Bigatron
part
in
the
to get
previous
into their back
engagement,
lane.
Because it all began so good for GPX.
BTR
but
are
somehow
better than any
Bigatron,
team.
The strike back, even Funi was able to
Bro.
just, not Funi, sorry, Cine was able to
Bro.
survive long enough.
First of
just
all,
do a
while I
bit of
talk to you about
damage
this, I'm
and
not
just
even
turn
going to
it
look
around
at you
for
because
Bigatron.
how dare you?
Yeah, they're risking a lot, right? They're taking risk right now.
Second of
I mean,
all,
at that point, you could see
you didn't
that
only
Viva
size
was
my
2 levels
life
ahead
or
I
all of
think,
the teams in NA
of
life,
Caramel, so
but you
even if
sized
Caramel
all of
wanted to
Mobile
look
Legends
for
North American esports life.
a contest,
A trade?
it
Yeah.
would have been so difficult.
It's just so tough if you're GPX right
They're
now,
a good
right?
team, but they're
Again,
not
it
better
just
than
feels
any
so
team in
frustrating
NA,
when
bro.
you're able to find a
That
few
means you're
picks, but
telling me.
not able
You're
to
telling
capitalize
me.
on anything. It's
You're
always set
telling
up
me.
in a way where BTR will be the ones to punish if they win. If they lose, then they get
Except
away.
for M4 the Valley. That, you
pretty
were a little
easily,
late on
right?
that
They're not
comment,
gonna
bro. I was about to say, bro.
let
I was
any
like
turrets get
you're telling me
taken.
they could
There's
make
a lot
it to top.
There's not a lot of
top
range to
five,
play with
top
when you're
5-4.
GPX, and I think that goes
Top
against
6-5.
the draft, right?
Sure,
it's
better
a
than
good
half the
team
teams in
first
M4,
draft, but
bro.
When it comes to just sieging objectives,
They're better
you
than more
really
than
are
half
at
the
a
teams in M4,
disadvantage
bro.
when it comes down to it. You have
Get
a
the
Hanzo
hell
who can
outta
dive,
here.
you have a Xavier who has just crazy range, and on top of that, you have a Brody who can siege way better than anyone on GPX.
And even if there's going to be a counter engage coming from GPX, the Lolita is there to block out the damage, to try and counter engage and CC everyone. So it's almost like they have all their bases covered. And even how GPX were able to get pickoffs, it's never really, if you can see so far, on the real important members. So for Bigatron, it seems like Fumi Echo getting picked off is all within part of their calculations, just to get a bit more map control. When everyone is just using all their spells and chasing after that Hilda, that is where Bigatron can make moves into the bush, into the jungle, and get a positional advantage compared to GPX.
Okay, but with all that being said, right, every positive and every advantage that Bigatron Era has right now, how do we feel about the late game, right? Because GPX has the carry, remember? Do you think that Qin Chao can be that deciding factor for GPX? Can GPX stall enough to wait for Qin Chao to reach that power spike?
Well, if you imagine you're a carry, right? And you're getting run at by a full DPS build Hanzo and a full tank Hilda that can take out half your HP bar with one ultimate. It's gonna be a very tough situation for Qin Chao to try and carry in that late game, particularly because there's no real source of crowd control they can use to reliably save her from the
Casters
aggression.
are starting
Maybe
to
they can use the
get
Kufa to try and
chosen
slow
for
and use the Tyrant's
NACT
revenge
guys. I can't
defensively.
tell you who,
But if
but
they
they're
do
starting
that,
to get
it
chosen.
also
and
means
stuff.
that the backline from Bigatron can do whatever they want
Yeah.
because the dive
We
potential
got
is no
some
longer there.
new faces coming
So,
in.
like earlier, if they can try and get to the backline before that, I'm pretty sure that Bigatron were a bit surprised when Cine got engaged on earlier. They have to try and find more moments like that. But of course, as always, it's so much easier
Let it be
said
said,
than done.
Back into the
whoever
game,
their
ladies and
husbands
gentlemen,
are going to be
GPX
the ones who
still
cook and
one
clean.
kill down, but 6,000 gold down. Wow, objectives, right? Bigatron era controlling most of the map as well. You can see only the base turrets left standing for the side of GPX.
Oh, the map vision from the Xavier is just so annoying. Like,
It is.
even discounting the damage that she can possibly portray onto the members of GPX Blast, right? Just the information alone is enough to deny GPX Blast Rank any hope of trying to go for a counter engage to how aggressive Bigatron era is playing right now. The Lord already marching down there in the top side. We'll see
Ooh.
what happens.
Oh no, Viva already going in. Funi's called Alter has been popped before anything even happens.
Oh.
That's the base turret in the mid lane falling down. LW with the taunt onto Fumi Echo. Shinchao deals out a lot of damage.
Oh,
Back in, that's a
GPX
kill
defending,
over.
nice.
Everyone out
Uh-oh.
blast. Finds two. Funi looking for more. Torn apart,
Uh-oh.
memory sealing.
Uh-oh.
LW, wait, that's a
Uh-oh.
double kill for Chell. The Donnie light goes over.
Bibble.
Under the
Rival.
base. 14 minutes
GG's.
in. Chell goes for a triple before
That was
they
clean.
end the game to secure match
That was clean.
points.
2-0 for a Bigatron era right now.
Look, they're just like,
And the
she, her
tournament
right there,
lives
she's
of
just like,
GPX
easy.
are hanging
Come on, bro.
by a thread.
Come on, guys.
It's not, I don't know what to say. I mean, that first game was insanely dominant. The second game was out of this box like from GPX Basrang.
Well, with that though, on that note, before we get to our third game, we're gonna take a very, well, not a super short. That's the positive of having. And this is Celion, the Xavier.
It's nighttime now.
Technically can be dove on now by the Masha. I don't think it's as reliable as something like a Yuzong that, honestly, I feel like could have worked
Dave
out
would
in
be
this
proud of that.
situation. Good laning phase up against the Lapu, not
He
too
would be
bad.
proud of that.
Kufra is
He
gonna
would.
be final
Whoa.
ban. They're really targeting Tao down. Usually, in both game 1 and 2, Tao picks up the roamer pretty early on. But now it's the Farsa pickup for Funi. It's a pretty solid pick for Funi, right? It's one of her comfort heroes. But against the Lapu
And the Kaja.
and the Kaja, at this point, Bigatron era, what do they want to go for here? I think Lunox just fits so well in the mid lane. We've seen it in the match against Risk for BTR. They need some shred. The Moskov can't do it all alone. They already have a pretty strong lane coupled with the Kaja in the mid lane. And for the jungle, it's a Farsa, it's a carry. Might as well go for an assassin. Ling is still up for grabs. What else? Haya?
Amon,
Hayabusa's
Fanny,
banned out.
Benedetta.
Yeah, Benedetta was banned out earlier. It will
Benedetta
come out,
Lunox.
and the Lunox comes in.
Oh.
The Benedetta and the Moskov both at 100% win rate, by the way, so it's just looking scary for the side of GPX for sure.
Well, technically every hero is at 100% for
Exactly.
them, right? For
Everything they
them.
touch, it turns to gold.
Yeah, everything so far, right? GPX with a Franco. They're trying to lock BTR down with another suppression here. 2 suppressions, Bloody Hunt and Divine Judgment from both teams. GPX with their draft. Let's see if it works out here. Personally, for me, looking at the draft, I personally prefer Bigatron era.
I think Bigatron has a lot more flexibility, and for GPX, it can work, but there's so many what-ifs. Because if they can get the pickoffs here, they have burst damage, but can they lock someone down long enough? They have the Franco, they have the Fredrin, the Farsa as well. So the opportunities are there, but I feel like it's going to be very telegraphed at how they approach these fights. These engages are not very fast.
Yeah, it's gonna come down to how well this Farsa is gonna be able to survive, right? With so much engage potential from Bigatron, with so much dive, will she be able to have the utmost impact over Feather Airstrike? Will she be able to deal out the damage that she was meant for with so many obstacles in her face?
Ladies and gentlemen, here it is. Both of the drafts set in stone on the chessboard you see. This might be the final
All right.
game of the night in the grand finals of MWI 2023. We're jumping into the land of dawn with a portal right here, right now. Bigatron era versus GPX.
The
Caramel
last
and Vival
Right.
on the orange buff.
You're right. The last life as well for GPX as well to stay in this tournament. And it's looking quite difficult with the draft that they have set for themselves. But right now you can see that the Masha already doing some damage here, already trying to get and take away any resources from Bigatron Era. And that just might be the winning lane that they could utilize to their benefit.
Well, if they don't have a winning lane, doesn't get better than that. We have to see how it plays out later in the mid-game, though, because it's not only about getting a lead in your lane, it's how well can you use that lead later on. But look at this play from Shell, very aggressive, and Vivian comes in to try and back her up.
Oh no, Chinchao again losing on the all-ins against Chell. It's just not a good matchup every single time. Bigatron Era just giving so much room for their laners to constantly just be in these winning sides. Viva also just winning it here. The Retribution was baited out of Caramel. And even in the top side, Talon's gonna be stunned up. Vivian goes in for more, gets punished down though. That might just be first blood. Vivian flickers out, Caramel not able to find it. It's a
Vivian.
stun. No way she gets out from this. There is absolutely no way.
She gets out. She gets out.
Sustains back up, Caramel finally.
Finally
Secured
goes down.
first blood. I can't believe it took them that long.
But that's what I mean,
but
right?
Vivian was able to prolong the inevitable.
Man, so much time bought there, realizing that, oh, Caramel wants to go back in. Is this a mistake?
Oh, man. Could have been a kill over to GPX. They did not want to go for that dive. Chell down on that. Inspire has the regen, but it is going to be a turtle. Free. No contest for BTR.
A step in the right direction for GPX, playing it calm and collected. And now Shell is forced to stay with half HP. Chinchao is trying her best to try and get a lead. She is the tip of the spear for GPX, so she has a lot of responsibility on her shoulders. But this Franco pick from Tal, we've seen them on the proactive heroes like the Kufra. She's still able to find those windows of opportunity. It's all about whether or not in the mid-game they can find something similar and get something huge out of it and continue to snowball from there. Because honestly, that's how Bigatron Alpha has been able to do it. So fight fire with fire, I guess.
Fight fire with fire. That's exactly what they're trying to do here, but I don't know what was going on, right? Did the Fredrin just not want to contest, or were they just trying to get a pick off? Because if they were trying to get a pick off, they want. Oh, but wait a minute, that goes in.
And there's a pressure, but it's going to be baited in. The Divine Judgment comes in.
Oh, no.
Cindy is there as well. They've read another rotation. GPX are again out-read, outplayed in the gold lane. BTR are looking for more. They want to punish GPX for this. That's a brilliance in the back line. Vival as well, zoning Caramel and Chinchao under the tier 2. Caramel's gonna fall. What do you do against this? Bigatron Era, you think that GPX have finally found something.
I have to
They
like
get
sign some
every
contracts
single
and
hit
stuff.
on the turret gold. It's gone. Now Vival
It's
also
GG's, guys.
escaping.
Oof. Tough situation for GPX.
It's just complete
for
dominance
sure.
the whole
It all
way
began
through.
with their play attempt, but Bigatron
Look at
way
this.
too calm and calculated. And now it seems to be reading the rotation, the play, the traps that GPX is preparing for her as well. Shell is just a menace here, and the same thing can just happen. The exact same thing.
Chinchao gonna be dove on. Vival picks up the kill.
Bro.
Tal has nowhere to go under the turret. It's Bigatron's playing ground, flickering out. Vival now chasing Funi, forcing a flicker. They're in shambles.
They get the-
4-1,
bro, yeah, it's a total
4
sweep.
minutes in.
Wow, they are
BTR in a better
extracting
tournament.
so much out of this Lunox, right?
Put them
The
in a better
city
tournament, bro.
Has been having such a great time at
And even the
3-0-1
lane. Oh
here
my goodness.
in the 4th minute. And like we mentioned, right, because of how much dive that Bigatron Era has, it's very difficult to see the opposing mid laner, who is supposed to be Funi, on the Farsa, deal the damage that she is meant for. Sure, she can open up the Feather Airstrike here to try and zone, but other than that, she hasn't been able to find any success with the damage that she is supposed to have.
A good hook by Tal, but it's going to be the brilliance as well. Vival picks it up. Caramel caught out of position. Fumi Echo with the Bravest Fighter to final blow. Caramel super low, gets out with 1 HP, just barely. GPX still holding on.
Oof, and you can see that the Fredrin Caramel walks all the way back to the base because she's afraid of the global ultimate presence coming in from the Moscow. This is so painful to watch, but Bigatron is
Is there a new
outplaying them on
chapter
so
of
many
One
fronts
Piece out
as
yet?
the ultimate, I think, spots one of the players from GPX still. Look at the
There
pressure,
is.
and look at the gold taken
New
from
One
all
Piece
of them.
chapter, guys.
It's 3K gold ahead at 5 minutes here for Bigatron.
Oh no, Tal.
Tal, very, very low. Vivian still not going for the Divine Judgment. The hook connects. Vivian still holding
GG's,
it
yo.
down. Fumi Echo now again. Fumi Echo, there's no way.
Oh no,
Finding a
finally.
second down, but Vival now is looking for more to eye for an eye as well. Chin Chow super low. Vival now in a 2v1, trying to pick up the scraps. Caramel
Oh my
falls.
God.
Chin Chow recalling.
Oh my god, oh my god, no! You should have just recalled. Why did you fight back? You probably would have made it, yo.
Tier 1 down below. BTR.
As you see, a possible win for GPX Basring.
Oh my goodness.
Bigatron era, their
That's
synergy,
so
right?
sad,
their chemistry,
bro.
their communication is so on point that they're able to follow up even when they're still so far away. How are they so
That's
composed
so
like
sad.
this?
If you give Bigatron trouble, they'll give you double, man. It is just so difficult for GPX to get something without losing so much more in exchange. And now the top side.
No way, LW, that's all your HP bars gone. You have 3.
What?
But what is 3 to that damage output from BTR? Chell stuns you up. You have a lockdown for the Divine Judgment.
6K
and
gold
that
lead,
burst
6.5
from
minutes.
Cine. BTR once again pick up a kill like it's nothing on the board up against a member that has 3 HP bars. I do not understand.
It's just way too much damage
BTR is just
for anyone
like-
to take. And I think the crowd control is what
I don't
Bigatron
know.
era uses so well.
Like,
because
what more can I
for the most
say,
part,
you know? It's
LW
like,
wasn't able to do anything, but look at this play though.
Oh! Again, he's able to find it. Caramel.
stop it.
Gonna be popped down.
Are you serious? Just outplay after outplay.
Because for the most part, LW wasn't able
Why did it
do
take him
anything,
so
but
long to
look at
do
this
that,
play,
bro?
though.
Oh my god. Bro.
Again is able to find it. Caramel gonna be popped down. That's the bloody hunt. That's the brilliance as well. Vivian survives. At this point, what can you do against BTR? They outclass you like this in the final game. Vival gets hooked, still able to pick up the
they're
purple buff. Every single
outclassing them,
mistake
like,
hasn't been punished.
to
Vival
such a degree.
under the tier 2, showing no respect to GPX.
They're making this.
6,000 gold
They're making
lead,
all the
GPX
teams in
with
this
no map
tournament look like
control
amateurs.
whatsoever. They truly are pinned on the wall right now with no particular solution for them at the moment. GPX Basring now, they're forced to respect the damage output coming in from Cine, trying to build that magic defense as well. But even so, how are they able to do this properly, right? Because how do you stop something like the Lunox, who is able to escape from any CC potential that you have?
It's not like if you stop the Lunox, you stop dying because Shell, Rival, Fumi Echo, everyone is just going in aggressively and they all have the damage to back it up. It just seems like the signature
They read it out.
mark
No
of Bigatron is that damage and crowd control, and they're going for it yet again.
How do they keep on doing this? They read out that LW is in the bush. They understand GPX. They just know. They
Like,
know.
and this is,
Fumi
they
Echo,
do keep
weak
doing
side
this.
laner.
It's almost to the point where I'm like, bro, are they using fucking map hacks or something? Like, and I'm not saying they are, but it's like they're reading the enemy teams
In
so
the mid lane
well.
now, jumping in with the bravest fighters. That's going to be the bloody hunt onto Vivian. That's a stun onto Fumi by Fumi. Under the turret, their praises Rad finds his mark. Vival still survives for a bit, but will finally be shut down. Cine with the burn. The burn doesn't connect. There isn't enough just yet. Caramel gets out. Chell looking for the siege on the tier 1, finds it. 1-1.
1-1, they get the jungler from Bigatron era, but even then,
GG's, just end
Basring
it.
is still not able to use that and capitalize over anything on the board. And instead, they are the ones to have to lose another. Absolutely no. But the Masha is the mid side
Play.
counter.
Themselves away down right here. Fumi in the front line. Look at that.
Who is this
flickering
guy?
Away, LW. Not able to
What's
find
up,
the thunder
coach?
clap, just backing off now. That's the hook. Dodged away from Chell. Melting LW down. That's 1 HP bar. Taking a quarter of HP. Vival pushing in that bottom lane. Feather airstrike to respond to it with Chin
Bro, I'm
Chow
just
as
watching
well.
Bigatron outclass
Chin Chow
everybody in
popped
this
her ultimate for
fucking
that one. She won't have
tournament,
the
bro.
Lord
It's kind of
push now up
ridiculous,
top.
bro.
I have a feeling Bigatron might just go for this right here. That's the siege. That's the base turret passive. That's Vivian on the Kaja, knowing the limits on the turret as well. Fumi Echo.
Kinda
zoning
gross.
GPX.
I'm so
free
bored
turret
waiting
conceded.
for NACT and MPL that I'm
Notice
watching
how
the
for
Women's
GPX, right,
Invitational.
every single
You want to see a pretty cool play, though?
Here.
Deku?
Correct,
Look
1
at this,
HP
bro.
just back
Hopefully you're still
line
watching.
with This
Look at this, bro. Wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it.
In
This is actually a really cool play.
are pinned. Buster.
This point.
Here it is.
For the
Watch
most
this,
part,
bro.
LW
Watch this.
The crowd control is
Watch
what
the
Big Cat Era
Moskov.
uses so well
Watch what he
because
does
for the
here,
most part,
bro.
LW
He's
was
dead,
able
right?
to
He's
do it, but
dead.
look at this play,
The
though.
pushback out of the motherfucking
Again is able to
appraiser's
find the
wrath.
Caramel. Gonna be popped down. That's the bloody.
That is so
LW
clean.
wasn't able to do anything, but look at
So
this play,
clean.
though.
Oh,
Because for the most part, LW wasn't able to do anything, but look at this play, though.
Again is
that was
keep
crispy,
on
bro.
doing. The X with a
Crispy, bro. They get Lord. Lord's coming.
now up top.
They end here
I have a
probably.
feeling Bigatron might just go for this right here. That's the siege. That's the base turret passive. That's Vivian on the Kaja, knowing the limits on the turret as well. Fumieko zoning GPX. A free turret conceded.
Like,
Notice how for GPX,
Bigatron needs to just go to
every single
MDL
time
or
they miss a
something.
hook, every single time a particular ultimate
These
does
other
not
girls
get
aren't
used,
messing with them,
Bigatron
bro.
Era noticed that
It's
immediately
unfair.
and turn up the aggression. It's like they have
honestly
calculated
unfair.
everything down to a T. They know what they have to try and watch out for and how hard can they go
like
towards
they
GPX
make
if,
every
let's say,
play.
the
Like
Bloody Hunt is
normally
used.
a
If,
team
let's say,
loses,
the
but there's
Apprentice
still
Ram
like a
isn't used.
player
So
on the other
I feel like
team, on the
GPX
team
need
that
to make
loses,
sure
where you're
that
like,
everything lands.
oh man, they're
Every
really
single
good.
spell that
But
does not
Bigatron
land
Era,
is
like,
one more point
all
towards
5
Bigatron
of their
Era,
players
who
make
is now
all
at a
5 of the other
9K
team's
gold
players
lead.
look
But that's not easy as
bad,
well, right?
bro.
Because who exactly on Bigatron Era? do you
every
wanna
lane
target
looks
right
bad
now,
on the
right?
enemy
Yep.
team.
Shell has a really
Bigatron
good
Era is
dash.
just making them
Vival
look
can
foolish.
escape that CC. Fumi Echo can as well.
Non-stop.
As well as Cine with her ultimate. So to say that they need to land it, sure, obviously they need to do
Non-stop.
that, but it's not as simple as that with how immune and how invulnerable the members and the choices of heroes that Bigatron Era have chosen to pick up here in the third game. And this is why I keep saying that even from the drafts, Bigatron Era always have an upper edge.
I think if anyone is going to be relied on to make the pickoffs, the plays happen, it's going to be Funi on that Farsa. There's range enough, there's AoE, and if she has enough damage here, if a hook lands onto Shell, for example, eventually the Bloody Hunt can be cancelled, but if the burst comes in at the right
I would
exact
watch
time,
MDL, but
that
there's
could be
no
the
English
exact kind of
desk,
play
man.
that GPX
And
requires to
it's
find
rough
something
watching
here.
it
Because as
in
of right
another
now,
language.
we're talking about LW,
Especially because, like, right now,
in and
no
zoning out the
patches
Squishy
have
members.
come out,
That's not
so
gonna
it's like
happen. Shell can just stand
all the
there
same
and go
exact
toe-to-toe and
heroes
duel
getting
down that
picked that we've
Masha at
been
this
watching for
point.
the past 2 or 3 months.
Wow. Again,
It's getting a little boring.
9,000 gold lead, Arashi, Eterna, 9,000 and 12.
And to have to watch that also
point,
in a
again,
foreign language
the wave
is
up
just
top
like,
is slow pushing. They're just playing with the mid wave and the bottom lane. They're setting up and they even read that push. Oh, it's just so dominant. BTR pick up another free lord. They know exactly.
if
where
MDL
GPX
had an
are with
English
that
desk, I would
spear.
watch it.
And now it's just BTR's time again to go for another push. GPX are just on full defense. They can't even leave their own jungle. BTR reads it out like it's nothing. They've read it out so many times already in this game.
Yeah, it's difficult, right? But when we're taking a look at the item builds, the Divine Glaive has already been secured by Funi. And I think you mentioned this, Arashi, before, that she does and will be able to play the range game. So as long as she's able to time in...
Do we
that
know
Feather
when the
Edge
next
Strike
when are the next
better
patches
and not
coming,
use it
guys?
defensively, they actually might have a chance to come back here.
That's true, but of course, Bigatron Era making a play now with the Lord, right? That might be the exact factor they can use to force out this Feather Airstrike to try and let GPX clear the wave and try and extend this game a bit longer. Chinchao has the Athena shield just in case Cine goes in for broke to try and burst her down. Thal goes for it as well, but given the circumstances,
Hopefully it's a
going
big
to be
patch.
how well Chinchao can actually find a window of opportunity to try and do damage and not get taken out instead, as the Iron Hook does not land. Bigatron know this.
Oh, but the Enhanced Lord is still up there in the top lane. Chinchao might actually be forced to use that ultimate right here for the airstrike to be popped in, but the Brilliance is going to be ready there. That's the Bloody Hunt, chaining Fumieko down, but that's going to be a kill picked up by Cine. LW losing all of her HP bar. The base is at FHP. Mid lane base turret falling down. Too many waves now crashing into the base. GPX looking desperately for a fight, but will be stunned up. Chao falls. Chao still able to live steal for a bit. Chao.
Uh-oh.
Finally falls.
Chao goes down.
This is it for GPX. Chinchao.
Oh, nope, you're done now, though.
Forward, and even then, it's a kill for BTR. 3 for 3 and 3 base turrets
Tuesday?
down. GPX have fended off another day.
Then we got
We
this
will
sweet
see
Jujutsu
another
Kaisen dropping soon.
siege, but
The
at what
JJK is
cost?
coming
Three
soon,
base
guys.
turrets.
They've prolonged what appears like the inevitable, but you can see that Bigatron era, they're starting to play it way too hasty and way too aggressive, right? They're trying to end it as fast as possible, and that's when GPX are able and has an opportunity to capitalize. But if we take a look at the instant replay here, the siege, what do we think here, Rashi?
They all go in for the Franco of all people, and look at that stun onto Shell and Cine. Two of the most important members on the roster right there. That is just the opportunity that GPX needed. They go for it, and that will be a shutdown picked up by Chin Chao. But look at this fight!
Fumieko on the back lines now. Goes in for the stun fight! Two members, Chin Chao still able to kite away. That's going to be Fumieko jumping in as
Fumi's
well.
actually good, bro.
But it's all for naught. As the Divine Judgment from
Fumi,
Vivian comes in
Vivian.
clutch onto Caramel, taking the kill away. 17 seconds now for the Enhanced Lure to spawn back into the game. And BTR have basically solidified that 8,000 gold lead that it's still
I
in
got
their
like
favor
10k
right now.
diamonds in the clutch, so
Worst
we're definitely going to
possible
hit it
timing
up
to
for the
lose Caramel,
JJK.
and this is where
We're blowing
Bigatron
all
era
10,000 of
shine.
them bad boys.
They're able to create movements, create opportunities for
10,000,
themselves, and
we're
time it
dropping.
perfectly to the next objective. But Fumieko here, she's gonna get caught.
She gets hooked, but it kind of benefits her now. With
Probably
going
gonna get a Melissa buff.
Well, LW going to be locked down. Further airstrike to zone them away. BTR falls
this next
back,
patch.
respecting the damage that Funi has been placing
Xavier buff.
aggressively, like you mentioned, not a defensive ult.
That is insane. GPX were able to actually take out Cine and get a shutdown onto Chin Chao. That's great, but the gold lead is still at 9.3k. It was at 10, I believe, and it dropped down to about 8k. So despite the 3-4-3 they got in the base, it's still a huge
over,
goal
yo.
difference in this game
Yeah,
right
it's
now,
over.
as Shell picks up a win of nature. So now, if they want to go for a 1v1, if she wants to try and duel Chin Chao, that is something that they can explore with this Lord right here. It just seems like it's going to be the beginning of the end, Mirko.
Let's see right here, ladies and gentlemen. That's going to be the hook, not
Yeah, we'll
connecting.
do it.
LW trying to zone the other members away. That's going to be the Divine Judgment, locking her down. LW,
LW
isolating
down.
the team. Viva in the midst of it
GG's,
also, able to
GG's,
fight for now.
GG's.
Down for Tao. That's a double kill for Cine. That's the base wide open. That's another stun. It's a triple.
Shell
He
doesn't even
wants to
care
go
about
for
the
more.
base.
It's a maniac for Cine.
Savage.
It's a savage for Cine. The Bigatron era continues. Undisputed, undefeated at MWI 2023.
Didn't
The
lose a
pattern
single game
continues,
the whole
and
tournament.
This is your champion of MLBB.
Why are they
Women's
letting them play against all these other girls, bro?
23. 10
Why are they
teams,
letting them play against
7
them?
countries.
I feel like after
And once
this,
again,
you
this
have to put
team
this team
is
somewhere
your
else.
crowned
They did
queen,
not lose a
2
single
times
game
consecutively
in an invitational.
undefeated.
Invitational is supposed to be
21.
top like teams that are invited,
21
right?
Non-stop,
Like,
and no one seems to be able to solve this puzzle. They go for the decisive play again and again. They're able to get all the leads. They read through all the counterplay, and they get a Savage just for good measure, just in case you don't think they're dominant enough. Bigatron era, once again, makes an amazing statement. Whew.
I have no words, right? 100% win rate.
kind of gross. Kind of gross, guys.
Kadang masih suka di mix kok.
Yeah.
Nah, contoh kalau ke GPX bisa jadi nanti kita melihat mungkin ke Ribo sama Pinzi, Fredo sama Lucky Boy, itu masih possible. Tergantung nih. Tapi kalau ngelihat di game kedua ini kan udah turun line up-nya. Dia nggak bisa ganti balik. Jadi dia tetap
I don't know.
Kecuali dia punya orang lagi, kayaknya udah nggak ada deh.
I feel like Melissa's the one that I would actually use, so I'd probably go for that one.
Jadi udah dipakai dua nih.
I'd probably go for that one.
Harusnya tetap sama. Sama di game kedua tadi untuk line up.
Apalagi line up kemenangan mereka juga ya, yang membawa tren positif juga dan membawa game ini menjadi best of one series antara GPX dan juga A8 Pubs karena mereka sama-sama match point membutuhkan 1 poin kemenangan lagi untuk bisa bisa berpartisipasi di grup B dengan lebih baik.
Sebenarnya dua-duanya ya butuh banget menang. Mungkin ya memang Pubs ini lebih di atas lah. Tapi ya bukan berarti dia nggak butuh menang juga, gitu kan. GPX dia ada di bagian bawah, di bagian yang nggak enak banget untuk GPX. Jadi dia butuh banget kemenangan kali ini. Mau 2-1, 2-0 yang penting dia butuh match win. Itu dia dari GPX. Dan memang perhitungan awal dari MDL ini adalah match win. Jadi mau biar kata poinnya dikit ya, karena matchnya mungkin 2-1 terus. Tapi tapi ternyata match winnya lebih banyak. Itu
Iya.
tetap akan dia yang lolos. Makanya nanti akan ada perbandingan seperti itu. Oke, masuk di game ketiga.
Oh, GPX has a
kali
team here
antara
too.
GPX dan juga A8 Paps. Masih sama loh posisinya, GPX masih first pick loh. 3 kali berturut-turut.
Iya, mereka nggak mau ngasih second pick
What's your command? Your team
atau
is
memberikan first pick terhadap
Alright, guys, we might call it.
dengan metode-metode ban yang bisa
I mean, of
dilakukan.
course, Gojo is like second choice just because it's fucking
Dari
Gojo.
Valentina yang
and it looks
double
dope.
delay.
Ya,
Um,
satu lagi.
But yeah,
Satu lagi Hayabusa nih.
Iya.
I'm gonna see. I'll take whatever I can get. Right? Do you get to choose? Do we know how the roles are gonna work and everything?
Ah ya, abis itu.
How's the gacha gonna work?
Ya kalau dia respect menurut gua adalah kunci kemenangan.
Yoi. Dan ini untuk game pertama tadi kalau misalnya kita lihat hero-hero yang sudah digunakan oleh GPX dan juga Paps di bawah sana di layar kaca kalian. Ada Moskov, ada Estes, Paramis.
No, we don't know.
Dan untuk Joy,
Your team is
dua tim sama-sama udah memakai. Jadi tidak akan ada lagi kita lihat sosok Joy.
Lapu juga.
Lapu juga.
All right. I think we're gonna call it, guys.
Oleh GPX, akhirnya
Thank you guys for watching tonight.
muncul.
Till next time.
Bisa dibilang
We'll probably do a stream tomorrow
bisa
night.
untuk
I don't know. We'll see.
kalau misalnya mereka
Maybe
bisa
I might do some content. I don't know. I need to start doing more content again, really.
surprise.
But yeah, I'm gonna call it. Thank you guys for watching.
Bener-bener.
Deuces.
Romer ya. Walaupun memang bisa sebenarnya Kaja Romer Kaja